I think we're live.
I
So,
hope we're live. I like in the chat there. I deliberately scheduled
there
the
we go.
stream 15 minutes earlier so that I could be 15 minutes late to troll the audience. End quote. Dev probably. Funnily enough, we actually were going to go live at 1:30, but then plans changed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which it probably explains that.
So I assume that everyone can hear us now, hopefully.
I believe they can.
Okay, yeah. Like, hopefully they can hear both of us. But yeah, I've been able to hear audio track. Okay, so you can tell I don't normally like stream on this channel, eh? It's very simplistic looking.
Oh, I honestly I don't even remember how to stream on directly to YouTube. I haven't done it in so long.
Yeah, it kind of sucks compared to Twitch. Like with all the
I know,
problems of
right?
Twitch, YouTube is not a good streaming platform in my opinion.
I generally agree, but the one real nice thing is YouTube has the ability to rewind while it's live, and that is pretty cool.
Doesn't Twitch have that?
It does not. Not while it's live, at least. Unless they recently added it and I'm unaware.
I swear I could have remembered doing that years ago. Maybe they took it
Really?
out.
I don't ever remember it being there. But
it might have
then
been
again,
like a really
I don't...
old Twitch thing, like a
Maybe.
2011 or something.
I was actually streaming before Twitch. I was
Yeah?
streaming on Ustream and Justin TV, and I was streaming SWAT 4 Sketchkov Syndicate with Adobe Live Flash Encoder. And let me tell you, that is the worst software you have ever seen in your life. I think there's only one audio track, so it's just
Really?
commentary or game audio. That's all you get.
Really?
It clearly was not meant for like game broadcasting, but game broadcasting was barely a thing. It was like me and Lord Cat.
The old
Like,
days, the 2008s,
Yeah. Wait, my dry beard. I know who that is. Not enough to know my name, unfortunately.
Yeah, so
That happens a lot.
We should talk about this. So this is my dry bread.
Hi.
We are friends, it turns out. Even though
I've been for years.
Yeah, we have been for years. Even though we inhabit completely different sections of YouTube for the most part.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just political in private. I do gaming stuff.
Yeah. You kind of blew up, was it last summer for your Pokemon challenges?
I don't remember what season, but it was just over a year ago. The Pokemon challenges I was doing really started to blow up. It's crazy. I kind of became an unofficial figurehead of like a movement in the Pokemon section of YouTube,
Really?
where everybody attributes. Yeah, I was the third guy to do it, and I was the first guy to do it consistently. The only other guys had done 1 or 2 videos, and they did it like over a year ago. So I was like, oh well, that looks like fun. I'll do it as like a lark on a side thing, because that's always what I do. Is like, a few times a year, I'll creatively stretch my legs by trying a side thing on top of what I already do. That's just a new genre to see, is it fun? Do I like it? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a few of them, and then they started to blow up really, really, really big. And I went from having 61,000 subscribers to now being at 350-something thousand. I am one of my friends now, who has been in the Pokemon community since before he was even a YouTuber, says that he has never seen a Pokemon YouTuber, or at least someone in Pokemon YouTube, grow as fast as I did. Which is very flattering. I'm happy that I was able to give a lot of people their start on YouTube by teaching them how to do these videos. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's really cool, man, because before you blew up, you and I were kind of in the race to 100,000. And then as soon as that stuff went viral, I was like, well, I'm going to lose this one.
I didn't even know there was a race. But
talked about it a little
I'm
bit.
just
It was
happy
like a
we're
joke.
both doing well.
Yeah. But like we talked about it a little bit, but it was mostly a joke, Like it wasn't a real race. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just want to see my friends succeed. I think the stuff you've been doing is great.
Oh, like the politics stuff?
Yeah, I watch like literally every single politics video you put out. It's really good. I've been watching for years, every single video. I have like the bell icon and everything. I think it's really good stuff.
Oh, well, thanks very much, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
I will say, since you are not a political channel and you kind of have a policy of being apolitical on your own channel because politics,
vaguely,
it can get messy sometimes,
It comes up, people ask questions about Canada and stuff, and I want to tell them the truth of my opinions, so they ask, and sometimes it comes up on streams, but for the most part, I don't talk politics much.
Yeah. But now you can, because your reputation will not get tarnished here. It's my reputation, so.
I don't care if people have an issue with when I say political things. Like I'm not a preachy guy. I don't think I know all the answers or anything. I know that I have plenty of blind spots and everything. I don't know. I think I come from a fairly reasonable perspective of just I like to hear people out, and I like to assume I don't have all of the answers and shit. So I don't know. It's
Well,
people usually
where
don't get
would you?
offended with me, I guess, even though I say like, my humor is incredibly dark, but no one ever gets offended with me. I just kind of get away with it.
So, oh yeah. By the way, you said you have coffee, right?
Yeah, I'm drinking a coffee right now.
Yeah, you have to sip it into the mic.
Oh, right, yes, weekly sip.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't really sip. I've always been a gulper.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't really that and my mug isn't really shaped for it. We have all these like specialty coffee mugs because Fatima used to be a manager at Starbucks back in the day.
She just took all the mugs from Starbucks.
You get massive discounts, including on stuff that's not for public sale anymore. And there are some mugs that are like specially made to be really good for coffee. And like legit, they're really good. They're nice to hold. They hold a lot of coffee. They keep it real hot for a long time. It's pretty cool.
Oh, damn, nice, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
so yeah, where would you fall on the political spectrum then? Do you think?
I typically don't give myself labels just because I don't want someone to have met one other person that they thought had that label and dismiss me based on it. But if I were to just give myself one for the sake of making it easy, I would probably say I mostly land in like libertarian. In fact, when you do your political compass stuff, I tend to land in around that same range.
Yeah, because I fluctuate between libertarian, classical liberal, and social liberal.
Yeah, just kind of that range, a little bit left, fairly far into libertarian rather than authoritarian. And when I do the political compass ones that test more stuff, economy and liberty and all that crap, yeah, usually libertarian or classic liberal or something like that.
That means you're a Nazi.
Unfortunately, yes, I have been called this.
Have you
my
actually?
favorite. What? Oh, yes. I've been called everything. I've been called a leftist and a Nazi for the same political opinion. I've been called, like, all kinds of things. My favorite is when someone will come at me, like, I play a lot of Crusader Kings. I play a lot of Paradox Interactive grand strategy games in general. And one of my playthroughs was as the Sheik of Mecca, and I made, like, a whole huge empire out of it. Really fun game. But some people tried to come at me very offended, and they tried to play the whole offended Muslim card on me saying anything negative about the religion. They didn't have a response when I came back at them with my own knowledge on Islam, because my wife is from Iraq. She escaped that. She is here because of the Gulf War, and so I do know about these things. I have quite an interest in it. In fact, I might be learning Arabic next year. I want to start learning a language, and that's kind of high on my list of what I want to learn.
Because of your wife specifically?
It's just a language I've always had an interest in, but also she speaks it and she would like to practice more. She's been practicing it again just because it's been a while since she used it, in day-to-day life, just because you don't have much of an opportunity to stretch those legs around here. And so I wouldn't mind learning it. She's also working on Italian, and I wouldn't mind learning a few languages myself, just because right now it's just English and Carney.
Carney? Wait, what is Carney?
Carney is an old American carnival language.
Is that a real thing?
Yes. Carney is no longer in super common use. It's a turn of the century carnival language. You know how carnival folk will have code words so that they can speak about things that the audience or the carnival goers aren't supposed to know while still in front of them. That is American Carney, and that devolved and kind of became its own thing. And if you hear a lot of old pro wrestling terminology that still is a little bit pervasive amongst wrestlers, but not so much, usually derives from Carney. And so Carney is a rule set of how to modify English into a coded language, as well as a set of words that simply have different meanings in Carney. It's not terribly hard to learn, but the secrets of it are fairly well guarded. I learned it because I love professional wrestling, and I wanted to learn the history of it. And if you want to learn the real early history of it, it helps to know Carney.
Damn. I mean, Does that qualify as a language or just like a code? Do you know what I mean?
It's debatable. It's a coded version of English. There's no doubt about that. It's definitely very hard to speak. It's very slow to speak it, but it's fairly easy to learn how to understand it.
Hmm.
I'm not a very proficient speaker of Carney, but I can hear it and decipher it pretty well.
But yeah, people are saying in the chat it's thieves can't. Yeah, it sounds like thieves can't.
What's thieves can't?
Thieves can't is basically exactly what you described, but only thieves can learn it in Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yes, I do know thieves can't then. Not literally, but yes, I do know what you're talking about, and yes, this is one of those.
Okay.
In that it is specifically a language made by borderline crooks so that they can get away with scams in front of people. like literally, it's carnies would have these words like a mark. Mark is used nowadays in wrestling, and its meaning has changed a lot. Nowadays, it basically just means fan, although it's sometimes derogatory. Back in the carnival days where it came from, though, a mark would be somebody that you can fleece for money with carnival games. And so you've marked somebody so the other carnival or the other carnies know, oh, you can get a lot of money out of this guy. He'll fall for anything.
Wait, thieves can't was a real thing?
It is? I was unaware.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of stuff, a lot of the mundane stuff in D&D kind of comes out of the real world, so I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't know that, man. I didn't know that you were learning a can't in order to fleece people. That's how you got 350,000 subs.
Not to fleece people. I don't think I've ever even revealed the secrets of Carney in front of an audience before. I mean, you can look, if you want to look up how to learn it, it's not terribly hard. There are a couple of videos that teach you the basic rules, and the rest you can learn just through, like, reading history, basically. But it's fairly guarded, and it's harder than ever to learn because carnivals don't speak Carney anymore. So the only place that Carney is still around is in small, it's evolved heavily. Very, very diluted forms are still alive in pro wrestling. Some of them on screen terms and some of them not. But the actual speaking of Carney as like how to adapt the language rather than individual Carney words, that's mostly gone. And there's a lot of dialects on how it works and everything because it's across America and that's a very large place. And of course, carnivals are decentralized, as you could probably imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. To go back a topic, you mentioned Crusader Kings. That was actually that game and Bannerlord are two games that Sargon has basically got me into recently.
We need to play Crusader Kings together sometime then.
Yeah. I just picked up Crusader Kings 3, and about a month and a half ago I grabbed Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. And they're both
very good
games. Yeah, they're both pretty good. They're both pretty good games. And the main, like, I was never really into those kind of games before. Well, I mean, I like Civilization, right, which is kind of like Crusader Kings 3.
And I love me some Civ. I used to be a immortal level player on Civ 5, although Civ 4 and 6 I tend to prefer.
Yeah, I definitely prefer Civ 4 for sure. I haven't tried 6 yet, but I prefer 4 over 5.
I generally in Civ games, the first every odd number game is kind of like an experimental phase where they try a lot of cool new shit, and every even game is where they really refine that. So generally 2 is considered better than 1, 4 is considered better than 3. But you'll notice how the newest game is always the one shat on the most, and then the second there's a newer one, the Civ fans will shit on that one instead. So in time, they will consider 6 better than 5, but right now they consider 6 worse. This is just a thing you learn when you've been around Civ your whole life. This is just how the community is.
Well, it's not just Civ though. Like, look at Legend of Zelda. Everyone hated Wind Waker when it came out. Now it's beloved. You know.
Yep.
Look at Twilight Princess. Same thing.
I was just about to say Twilight Princess. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if the same effect's gonna happen to Skyward Sword, but one can hope.
Who knows?
Well, because people still hate Skyward Sword, even though I thought it was like an okay game.
I don't really know a whole lot about it. It's one of the ones that I've barely played. I don't have. I mostly watched my friend Brandon play it, and it looks fun. It looks really fun. I don't know. I haven't gotten around to it. I don't have as much free time as I used to, and not that I used to have a whole lot of free time, but you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, your channel blew up, and you said that like you started a business and the whole thing.
I am now officially, and I ran this by my lawyer, I am now officially El Presidente of Madry Bread Incorporated.
Oh, is that your official title?
Yes, she said that legally, the Canada will legally just see me as the president of Madry Bread Incorporated, regardless of what I call the title. And as the sole shareholder, I can have a shareholder meeting and change it at any moment I want. I could also give myself an unlimited amount of titles. So what I told her is, okay, I am El Presidente of Madry Bread Incorporated, and that is what it is.
What did she say to that?
She thought it was funny. It helps that she had a good sense of humor. That's the thing is I'm good with professional people because I'm just goofing and trying to make them laugh the whole time, and I always can win them over.
Yeah. But I mean, I recall listening to like a Game Grumps where John and Aaron way back in the day.
Fartners?
Fartners. They started the business, and John wanted to call them Fartners.
You see, I can get away with shit like that because I have some kind of something where people just seem to smile when I talk to them. I still don't get it, but I appreciate it. I like to say I have the gift of gab, which is like having a silver tongue but without the charisma. If I just keep talking and I say enough things fast enough, then people for some reason seem to think that something was funny.
Yeah, well, you have like a certain kind of voice that I think people can latch on to.
I guess. I don't think anyone talks like me. I've never been told I'm like somebody, and I appreciate that, but it's not intentional. I just,
well, actually,
I don't know, I'm loud, I talk a lot, I think a lot.
Somebody in the chat thought that just based on your tone of voice, you might have been female to male trans.
Yeah, I've actually never been asked that before. I saw that earlier, and I actually meant to respond. Sorry I didn't respond to you there. I am trying to skim the chat. It's just so much is going on. I'm not. No, I'm biologically male and still... I don't even know what the proper terminology for that is. I'm a guy! It's...
Well,
yay!
Well, what I've noticed about your voice, though, is that you speak a little bit slowly, but you always really enunciate everything, and you almost never stumble over your words.
Oh, I actually stumble over my words a lot.
I haven't noticed.
Like
then.
in day-to-day speech, I've always had a bit of a stutter because I never knew why until I was like 20 or 21. But I have aphantasia, and that is the inability to picture things in my head. In fact, a lot of people have this and just aren't aware that they have it because the name isn't very out there, and it's one of those things where, look, if you were blind your whole life, and if other people couldn't tell that you were blind, you wouldn't know that you're missing a sense. But because blindness is so obvious, people would be able to tell.
Yeah.
With not being able to picture things in your head, you just think that's how it's supposed to be, you know? I didn't know that people could picture things in their head until I was like 20. And I always thought that picture this or picture that or whatever, I thought it was just like a turn of phrase. Like English is full of that.
Yeah.
So I can't picture things in my head. And so when I'm trying to say things, I just have multiples of my own voice in my head saying different things. That's how I do my thoughts. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of like dragging an audio track into my mouth. And sometimes, you know, I'm reading ahead in a script, for instance. So I've got one audio track playing that, and I've got the other audio track playing what I'm saying right now. So one's reading ahead and one's talking right now. And sometimes they'll collide and a word will combine. And that's what causes my stutter.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So you can't picture things in your head. So
not willingly, no. It's actually on a scale of mental visual clarity. Is what everyone's on. You know, like with blindness. To be legally blind doesn't literally mean you see absolutely nothing. It could mean that everything's blurry as shit and functionally useless. That's where I am. My picturing in my head is functionally useless. I don't really pick what I can see. It's, you know, when you look into a light bulb by accident and you close your eyes and you get that kind of like morphing color splotchy thing?
Yeah, it's kind of purple and green.
Yeah, that's what's in my head. I can see that. I can see motions. My head tends to obsess over motions. Now, there's nothing performing the motion, but I see the motion. And if that doesn't make sense to you, congratulations, it doesn't make sense to me either. That's the thing is I don't know what it looks like in anybody else's head, so I don't know how I could explain this to anybody that well. I understand that it's kind of, if you have it or if you don't, then you're kind of speaking related languages. You get some of it and you don't get some of it, and there's never going to be a full understanding. But I think that if people understand that I can't willingly picture things in my head and it's kind of a jumbled mess, that's enough for people to understand.
Well, someone asked, does that mean that you don't dream?
I do dream. People ask, that's always the first thing that people ask. My dreams are fairly nonsensical, though. I don't tend to remember them very well, and they're not particularly realistic. I don't have, even when I'm in the dream, I see better than when I'm trying to picture something in my head, in which case it's just a blur.
Mhm.
But that is, it's worth pointing out, aphantasia isn't like I'm missing eyeballs. It's not like my brain is wired in a way that this simply cannot function. It can be learned. This is actually a skill. Mental visual clarity is a skill you can build. It's just if you have such a low starting point just by happenstance of it didn't develop naturally, it's very hard to get the ball rolling. The exercise you're supposed to do is do something that you've seen a lot, like picture an apple in your head and then try to rotate the apple in your head to a side that you haven't seen and see if your mind can fill in that blank. And that's a practice exercise you can do. But when your entry point is as low as mine, it's very difficult to even do that to start building it up.
Okay. So like if you were to try and picture like the front of your house right now,
I just can't do it. I know what it looks like. I know when I see it, I'll recognize it, but I can't see it. It's why I can't drive. I could probably learn how, but my sense of direction is already terrible on top of not being able to see things in my head. I don't know what's around the corner unless it's muscle memory of doing that walk or just the knowledge that I will recognize it when I get there, which is why I don't really go out on my own. For instance, I'm probably the only human alive who didn't break quarantine. And by didn't break quarantine, I mean I've legitimately been away off of my property once during all of COVID. More
really?
like literally, the farthest I've gone is the sidewalk to take out the trash.
Yeah, see, with me, basically after I caught coronavirus myself.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I caught it back in March. It sucked, but after that, I was like, I'm just gonna. The lockdown's over for me. Like, I now have at least a decent amount of resistance to it, so it's like, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm not super careful. I haven't left because I don't leave much. I'm a hermit. Although I'm a very social person, I like talking to people. I like making friends. I find social interactions physically in person with people incredibly draining. I always have. I've always been a hermit. I really like having just, me, my wife, my cats, and then occasionally people will visit or something, and I'll have a fun time with them, and then I can have like a week to recharge.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quite like that with me, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of viewing things in your head though, like I've always had a very vivid imagination. I can picture nearly anything in my head.
That's awesome.
My ability to dream is like, you know how when sometimes you see like a drawing of something where it's not a full drawing, like it's a detailed drawing, but it kind of ends at the edges of before the edges of the paper, and then it like fades out to like the white of the paper, if you know what I mean.
I think I know.
Let me just see if I can find a...
So it's kind of like a literal dream sequence from a movie where they have like feathering around the edges.
Yeah, like the drawing itself, because they didn't fill the entire page with it, it's like edge feathered almost. With the whiteness of the page. Yeah. So you take that kind of a picture, you invert the color so that the feathering's black, and those are my dreams. They're highly realistic otherwise. They're just feathered around the edges.
That's actually really fascinating. I thought that was always just kind of an artist's depiction. Also, mimetic proportions in the chat. Wait, what? When people say imagine this, they mean they can actually picture it? That's the exact moment right there that you just watched someone realize they have aphantasia. I see this on a regular basis because it's not a very talked about thing, but it is not an uncommon thing at all. Most people just simply will never learn that they have it because it's if you don't know that that's a thing, like there aren't many tip-offs in real life that that's supposed to be a thing. My mom has photographic memory, so it's like the total opposite of me. This is not a genetic thing. It's literally a skill that did not build through adolescence just for whatever reason. It's not very studied. It got a name in like 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
some
dude who worked at like Facebook, I think, made a post describing it, and he coined the name.
Okay, this guy says, "I dream in 8K PC Master Race." Yeah, see, for me, it's like I can summon up pretty much any memory that I've had, and it's reasonably accurate. I can summon up things that I've
Hmm.
seen before. I can like create new images. If I want to, I can like picture a pencil drawing an image, and then I have the image in my head. Like I've always had a
Yeah,
very like a very
that's high
memory like that.
quality. You
Yeah.
would be like a 6 or a 7 on the scale, because I think it's like a 7-point scale on mental clarity or mental visual clarity.
Mhm.
For me, I'm high on the audio clarity scale. I can hear a song that in my head, I can play it flawlessly back. I can change instruments, I can change lyrics and stuff and make it sound like it fit.
I think I can do that too because what I like to do. Hold on. When I was a kid, what I would like to do is listen to characters on TV, and I would be able to recreate their exact voice in my head. So obviously
Me
the voice
too.
actor,
Yes.
but recreate their
Yes.
exact voice in my head, saying completely different sentences.
Yeah, I can do that too. That's
Yeah.
apparently more common, is higher audio mental clarity. Apparently it's
Hmm.
easier. I'm particularly good at that, but I don't think people tend to be very bad at that one, at least. Unless you have no inner monologue. If you have no inner monologue, then you typically have quite poor ability to accurately recreate sounds in your head. Which I think that's like 20% of the population or something.
But they just don't think of words at all, like in their head.
They don't have an inner monologue. They think non-verbally in their head. My wife does that. She thinks non-verbally in her head.
Okay, so
Now,
like, if I were to get up and go over and do the dishes, I'm probably either thinking to myself, I'm going to go do the dishes, or I don't want to do the dishes, or I'm thinking about something else and just kind of like thinking over other thoughts. When your
mhm.
wife does it, does she like think of a picture of her doing the dishes then?
There's nothing visual and there's nothing audio. She simply does. It's a non-verbal, non-visual thinking, which is hard to imagine, obviously, because like in the physical world, everything we do has audio or visuals attached in some way. But it's like a background process for her. You know, you're not looking at it. It's buried in the task manager somewhere. It just happens. Which I think is fascinating because it's so different from how I think. I never stop thinking. I'm always thinking in my head. I'm trying to resolve situations. Something I got obsessed with as a kid that I still do today is when I see a conflict on TV or something, I would be thinking about being in that situation and how I would try to resolve it peacefully. That's just something I obsessed with as a kid for some reason, is social situations like that.
Yeah, yeah, same with me.
And
That sounds
she's the
familiar.
opposite for that. It's why she'll sometimes say she doesn't think things through, is because she's literally not thinking in that same fashion. Now, that isn't to say that she's like stupid or anything. No, she's incredibly smart. I'm incredibly proud of my wife. It's that her thinking, yeah, in Alpha in the chat there, it's like subconscious. Her thinking is subconscious for the most part. She has a hard time sometimes sitting down and focusing on a thought, but she's very competent. Like it's not at all some kind of disadvantage. It's just a different form of thinking.
Yeah, like I've had a number of thoughts run through my head, and there's like no way to actually ask the question politely. So I don't mean anything.
Just ask.
I don't mean
You
I,
can't
I
offend
I
me.
don't mean anything by it, but it sounds like that sounds terrifying to me to like just simply. It's almost like running on instinct without actual intelligence behind it. You know, that
Yeah,
sounds
I
terrifying to me.
can't. Yeah, it sounds terrifying to me too, but it's totally normal to her, and I accept that as normal because I understand that this is a common thing, and I see how competent she is. I see how well she did at her job and in social stuff and everything for so many years. She can be a little bit reckless, of course, which, yeah, if you don't have an inner monologue like that, you tend to not think things through a little bit. You tend to be a little bit more reckless. But at the same time, it doesn't at all mean that she's not intelligent.
Hmm.
She has a hard time explaining her thoughts sometimes because she hasn't done the math along the way necessarily. But when you can really pick it apart and you help her find the words for it sometimes, because I'm particularly articulate and she's not as articulate. When I help her find those words, you see that no, she's really smart. There's a reason she has always done so well, is because you have to be smart to get through the situations that she's been through. Like
Hmm.
she's gone through a lot of rough shit. She fled the Gulf War, and she was a little kid at the time, of course, but growing up with like very Muslim parents in Canada and all kinds of things. And so, yeah, it's not at all like she doesn't think, just because it's not so verbal in her head. She just thinks differently.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So someone said it sounds an awful like autism. No, autism is the complete opposite of that. Autism
Yes,
is like extreme overstimulus of the environment and then like hyper analyzing everything constantly. It's like it's very
hmm
yeah. So it's kind of
And I
the
mean, she overthinks a little sometimes, but it's like it's overthinking social situations in a different way of like, what are they? How would they think about this? What do I say? It's more so just a lack of confidence in being able to articulate herself, which is a completely different thing. And it makes sense that she would be self-conscious about that because I understand she has a bit of a hard time finding the right words sometimes.
hmm.
Which is, you know, is just a skill she's not as good at, and it's one that I happen to be good at.
So when you have to picture words in your head, do you hold on, yeah. Do you hear
Yeah,
yourself reading the words out or do you actually picture the physical words?
I picture the words and fail. So this is something I really was giving up on high school by the end,
Hmm.
and it was because I
Oh,
started
so
getting
was I,
very.
dude.
I went from being very good at math to abruptly like not at all good, to the point that I passed my final math class at the dead minimum to the point mark you can get to graduate high school. And yet I was in university level courses on everything else because I just suddenly became bad at math and it was so disheartening and I thought I was just stupid. And there was other stresses going on in life, of course, but I started really giving up near the end. And it wasn't until I was like 20 and I started to realize I have aphantasia. I started researching it. I'm like, oh my God, this is what happened is I stopped being able to do the math automatically without thinking when it got too complicated. And when it got too complicated, everyone else was doing it in their head and I couldn't. I was missing a tool that they had. I wasn't stupid. And that it was nice to finally figure that out, mind you, because I'd already come to terms with the idea of having a disability or being unable to do something because I was born with cerebral palsy and Ehlers-Danlos. Yeah, I didn't learn I had Ehlers-Danlos until I was like late teens because no one in our side of in my mom's side of the family knew. We just all knew we had something fucking wrong with us because our joints sucked and our backs always hurt.
Mhm.
We weren't diagnosed with that until later. But we knew since I was like 8 that I had cerebral palsy because they were testing me for shit forever, and that's the conclusion they came to. So I had long since come to the conclusion of, okay, I'm born defective, and I was a pessimist based on it. But so when I actually learned that I had aphantasia, it's like, okay, well, that's just another thing on the pile. And eventually I became a more positive person the last 3 years. I have a long history on YouTube of being pretty pessimistic, and I like to think that I've become a nicer and better person just through not beating myself up so much and not fucking being such a bitch about it. Like yes, I was born defective. It's a bummer. There's things I can't do so well, and I got to take extra good care of my body and everything. But it's things like blowing up on YouTube and getting all these messages from people saying like, "Hey, you really helped me when I was having a hard time. You made me smile through this," or you gave me the inspiration to try this and it did this good thing for me, or whatever. Just seeing that I had a good impact on people's lives, it makes me realize that the hard work I've been putting in all these years matters so much more than any handicap that I would have from a disability. Nobody comes close to 1% of their potential, and so as long as I work my ass off, I can still accomplish great things and help a lot of people.
Listen to those oppressive ideas, guys.
Yeah, I'm such a Nazi, right? Fuck's sake. I want you. Why did I make a business? Because I want to be able to do payroll and give people the opportunities I didn't get. What a Nazi! Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't get it. Like I just
Yeah, like I know that there's definitely a legitimate basis for some of the protests in the United States right now because
yeah,
that's not really happening. It's happening a little bit in Canada, but not nearly to the same extent.
of course.
In the United States, there's a legitimate basis for some of the protests. There's definitely a police brutality problem. I don't think it's necessarily racially based because there's a lot of other like non-black people that get fucked by the cops too, like unfairly. But
Of course.
there's
And you don't hear about a lot of them, unfortunately.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
some real bad ones. There was a guy who died almost the exact same way as, I'm always forgetting the name. It was George Floyd, right? The
Yeah.
one who might have been on. Was he on something
He
and
was
he
on
was pinned
fentanyl.
down?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another case like that with a white guy where I don't believe he was on a drug, and the footage of it is particularly cruel. I'm sure you've probably seen it. In fact,
I
it wouldn't
haven't
surprise
actually.
me.
No.
Really, it was this poor white guy. I don't know why he was pulled over, of course. That's unfortunately not on the camera, I don't think. So, for all I know, he was driving recklessly or something. It looks like he was pulled over on the side of the road. But they were pinning him down with their knee, all the cops around. It's a body cam footage. He was crying quite heavily and saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And they were cracking jokes about him when he started, like, you know, that kind of snoring you hear when someone's choked out?
Mm-hmm.
They started laughing and making baby jokes about him when he started doing that. And the knowledge of not only just that cruelty, but the knowledge that he died very shortly after that is pretty sickening.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that before, man. Like that's a new
It's
story to me.
hard. It's
Do you
really
remember
hard
the
to
name?
watch. I don't remember the name, unfortunately. I saw it in passing a little bit on probably a political channel or maybe on like a politics Discord or something. I don't know. But that's fucking hard to watch.
People are saying, was it in Nova Scotia? No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't be able to tell you where it is.
Yeah.
The accents of the cops sounded vaguely North American.
Yeah. People are saying Tony Timpa. That's Tony Timpa apparently? Shit.
Is it? Yeah, maybe look him up and see. Maybe I'm not even remembering it super well. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know some details or
Dallas
something.
police.
So I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I don't want to go saying that it's like the exact same thing or anything, because of course I don't know. All I want to know is like, why haven't I heard of that? Considering it's
Here, I'll drop this in the chat and see if that image looks right to you. I'll pull it up on the chat and on screen too.
another person here says it could be Timothy Kaufman, who I'm not familiar with the name, but it could be.
Yeah, check that link there. You're gonna kill me, Dallas police body cam footage reveals.
Oh god, yeah, I can tell from the thumbnail. That's the one.
That's the one. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not watching it again because
I
that
understand.
fucking breaks my heart.
Yeah, no, I won't play it on stream. But yeah,
Like
July
I don't know
30th.
what the guy did. For all I know, that guy was a hardened criminal. For all I know, but Jesus, I would not want to go out that way. That was unnecessary.
Yeah, like I know that this is somewhat of a unpopular opinion in my section of YouTube, but I don't care what a criminal does. I don't care if he fucking raped a baby. Okay, unless he's attacking the police shouldn't kill him. He has to go to court. You know?
Exactly. They need to see their day in court because it's just that is how justice is done. I don't want to normalize the idea of justice as a bullet in the head. That's not something that I want to have as a regular acceptable thing. Like that's fucking terrifying, man. I don't want the general consensus of the civilian population of a country to automatically think that a cop should be putting a bullet in a guy's head. Obviously, self-defense is self-defense, and that's a different story, but it should still at least be avoided, you know? Like, if a guy's coming at you unarmed, good God, don't shoot him in the head unless it's really fucking dire.
Yeah. Like, there was there were two killings recently that started riots, and they're both ridiculous. One of them was actually there's three actually because two of them are almost identical. For two of them, a cop shows up to a situation. In one case, the guy had a machete. The other case, he had a knife. And in both cases, he charges the cop with his weapon. The cop misses with the taser, and then the cop has to shoot him with his gun. So
yeah, I did see that one, and like, God, that dude had what else could he have done?
Yeah, exactly, right?
I can't believe he had the restraint to not shoot earlier, because could you even imagine how terrifying that situation must have been? He was barely evading him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then the third one...
And, like, that dude was not backing down. Holy shit.
No. I'll check out the super chats after, guys, if you don't mind. The third one was the guy who killed himself in front of a mall. And
oh, God.
Yeah,
I think... Yeah.
Like, I couldn't show it on YouTube, but the video very clearly shows him putting the gun in his mouth, pulling the trigger, he falls over, everyone runs away, the cops move in, and then they riot for that.
Yeah, and wasn't it there was like the closest lady to him when he dropped was lying about what happened.
Yep.
I say lie. I can't see in her head. I don't know if she misunderstood it, but she was either lying or she was woefully ignorant and should not have been speaking with such confidence.
Mm-hmm. But what then? Yeah, she was seen later that night in the same clothes, like looting a Target.
Oh God, was she?
Yeah, I did a video on that because
yes, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, I think I saw the footage because of your channel. For fuck's sake.
It's at some point these people are entirely acting disingenuously, regardless of who was killed or why. They're doing evil shit because they see an opportunity to be able to do so.
It's just someone who is completely self-interested and has no courtesy for anybody else, and that's so fucking depressing, because I bet you it makes a lot of people think that the world is just full of those people, when I'm firmly of the belief that that's a small minority. It's that it's so egregious that it's so noticeable when it happens.
Yeah, definitely. So we have these instances where there are legitimate protests happening, and the cops crack down on legitimate protests, and that's obviously not good because we do have the right to protest in Western countries. But at the same time, you have these roving mobs of people who want to just burn down everybody's business because they're angry and bitter, or they're having some fun, or they want to steal stuff, And you being a business owner, like imagine if you actually had like a brick and mortar location for your business, and there's a riot there's a riot in your town, and they're like, you know what, my dry bread, because you have more than us, because you've worked hard and built this business for your channel, you're oppressing us, so we're gonna come and burn your place down. Like,
then I suffer, then my family suffers, and for what? For a decade of building up this channel. I mean, I have been doing a video a day minimum for 9.5 years now. I believe this is a record as far as I'm aware. I'm planning on hitting 10 years, taking 1 day off, and then going back to it. That's my plan. And it was basically just a thing of I started doing it because it was fun to do and I enjoyed it, and eventually it just became a pride thing of like, I don't like getting told I'm lazy because I know how hard I work. I see how hard I work. I'm the one doing the work. I'm the one taking 1 day off a month. I'm the one working 75 hours a week to do this channel. I'm the one who's been working for... I worked for 9 years before I started making really good money. And it's a good thing I blew up when I did, because now COVID happened, and my sister's in a bad way, and like a lot of families in a bad way, and I'm the one taking care of everybody because I finally have the means to do so. The idea that I could spend 10 years making this whole thing, and some jackass could come by and throw a Molotov through a window and ruin it all, is petrifying, because I know what that would do to me. I know what that would do to my family. It's... What is your incentive to work hard and work honestly and do an honest job of being an entertainer, not a fucking crook? You're not trying to trick anybody. You're not trying to do some kind of scheme.
Like a lot of YouTubers that are currently getting popular right now.
Unfortunately, like some YouTubers, yes. I didn't try anything fucking dishonest. I stuck to my guns, and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And it took a decade, and I paid off. And I remember those years of being poor, and I remember losing my house, and I remember spending most of my life through going under the poverty line. I remember eating cardboard that I would get from my shipments when I'd order a piece of equipment online. I would sometimes, secretly from my mother, eat some of the cardboard to fill out my diet because I wanted to make sure that she was eating, and I knew if she knew that I wasn't eating, then she would starve herself, and she's older and she's in worse shape and she needed the food more. And I learned that through my love of history. Poor people in London used to sometimes put sawdust in their soup to fill it out. I remember the hard times, and I don't want to go back to that, and I don't want my family to ever have to resort to that. And the idea that someone could just burn down everything that I've created is really, really concerning.
Yeah, and the attitude on Twitter is, well, everywhere, but Twitter specifically, because Twitter, I swear to God, turns people into sociopaths. But the attitude on Twitter is very callous. It's like, oh, they have insurance, it'll be fine. No,
I don't have insurance. I just simply don't. Like, not everybody can afford that. And just because you have insurance doesn't mean that the payout is instant, or the payout is easy, or the payout is even enough. It's so much more complicated than that. Insurance is so that you aren't left with nothing, but it can still fall through. And it still doesn't mean that everything's hunky-dory. I mean, any business you burn down, a lot of people are going to lose jobs, and a lot of those people aren't well off, and they needed that. Especially during Corona, when finding a job is pretty fucking difficult. I mean,
I saw
when
an
I
article.
when I left high school, I had a 2-year failed job search where the only job I literally went to a job agency that specializes in people with very minor physical disabilities that could still work most jobs,
Mhm.
and they were able to find me one job. It was a Pizza Hut cashier job a city away that I couldn't do anyway because they knew I couldn't stand for that long of a period of time. So I couldn't take it.
Yeah. I read an article recently that I think it said 48% of businesses that have closed because of coronavirus, because of the lockdowns, won't be coming back in the United States. Like small businesses.
I hope that's wrong, but it sounds accurate.
Yeah. People are like, we have to stop the infection, and fair enough, right? Like it's no laughing matter. It's a real virus. People have died from it, but I think the economic fallout is going to kill more people in the long run. I really do. Over the next 10, 20 years.
I think it's quite likely, and it's unfortunate because some damage to the world economy definitely has to happen during a pandemic. It is unavoidable. You can't, if you were to literally keep absolutely everything open, it's not like the economy wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah, because
But
people would be calling out sick, and the healthcare system would be overloaded. Like, yeah, there's other things
and
would
people
happen too.
die.
Yeah.
People are going to die, and that will hurt the economy because, of course, that will. The bigger concern is, of course, that people die, but it doesn't mean that you should disregard the economy, like I'm seeing so many people say. Because I think the people who completely disregard that part of the argument don't understand what an economy is. They don't understand that when the economy is
literally
good,
socialists.
exactly, literally socialists. They don't seem to understand that when the economy is bad, the people who get hurt most are the people who need help the most, the people who need their money the most. Those are the people who are going to get hurt the most, the people who don't have the means to help themselves when shit hits the fan.
Yeah, like, okay. I read another thing recently. This will all be in a video I'm probably doing in the next couple of days, actually. But 10,000 people a month are dying in the third world because the West can no longer afford to send them food because of our own lack of production.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an incredible amount of people every month. It doesn't match I think the 350,000 people who actually died of coronavirus, but I think it will eventually overtake it because we're not losing 10,000 a month due to coronavirus anymore. So
yeah,
like there are other problems that can't simply be waved away. Like you can't pretend like money and the economy and property isn't a real thing, that people aren't actually motivated by their own production, because they are.
Yeah.
It's been a bad year.
Yeah, and there's also social aspects to it. Everybody is born with different personality matrices. I think that's the right word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're more conscientious, or you're more this, or you're more that, and so naturally people based largely on genetics are gonna fall in different parts of where do they draw that line on we need to be this closed or that closed or this open or that open. It's a lot of that is going to be different no matter what from each other, and so there's going to be infighting based on that no matter what. Although the media egging it on sure doesn't help. I think we could handle this a lot more maturely, and we could be a lot less awful to each other about it, because it's not helping anyone when that happens. But when people, when I see people say like completely stay open or completely stay shut, I don't think they're taking into account the social aspect as well of you are going to be making a certain sect of people so militant that could never work.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think probably the right thing to do was to shut everything down for a couple of months so that the virus could be studied. As soon as we figured out, and we did figure out pretty quickly, kind of the nature of what we were dealing with, that's when you start opening things back up. And like we're now like 8 months in, and people want to ramp up lockdowns, even though the infection rate has risen, but the death rate has lowered. So more people are getting it, more people are getting inoculated to it. However, people aren't dying nearly as quickly because we've learned more about it. Or sorry, nearly as much. So it's like even as things get better, people want more lockdowns. And I think what it is I don't know. It might be like just I've had this theory now that birth control has led to having less kids. Having less kids has led to valuing each individual kid more, which is heartless, but it is kind of just the way that it is. Which has led to helicopter parenting, which has led to, schools being a bit more nannying, universities being a bit more nannying, workplaces being a bit more nannying. And now we have a situation where no authority can actually save you from a virus. Like you can catch it, and the doctors can do everything they can, and you can still die. And that's just how life works sometimes. So you have these people generations of people who have like just been accustomed to the idea that being made safe is a more important value than being free. And then you hit them with a worldwide pandemic. I am not surprised they are screeching to the government to basically destroy the entirety of society to keep them alive. And that's not to say that I'm like pro-death. Like I don't want anybody to die, obviously.
Oh God, of course not. That's the thing is they want to paint it like you want people to die when obviously what we're talking about is trying to figure out where do we draw the line to have the least amount of people die.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Both from damage to world economy and from the literal virus itself. Where you draw that line is real hard to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think with personality, you were talking about, I think, the big five, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What were the big five again? Hold on.
Oh, fuck, if I can remember.
Let me just pull them up. I had to study this a couple of years ago. Actually, no, Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. More than a couple of years ago. I took, like, psychology in university. So, yeah.
Oh, it's fun. I took philosophy in high school. I got very lucky that I had a very, very good philosophy teacher because I could see high school philosophy being a real shit show if you didn't get the right guy.
Yeah. I became a socialist in like my early 20s because
same here. For me, it was like late high school.
First year philosophy, they had us read the Communist Manifesto, and that was why.
Wow. Fatima, my wife, when she was at college I think she was taking like real estate courses at the time. It was like real estate business stuff. And they forced her, mandatory course, to watch, I'm not joking, Feminist Frequency. This is back when that was really popular. The funny thing too is my wife looks, when she has her flannel on and everything, she looks shockingly like Anita Sarkeesian.
Really?
Yes. Not so much anymore. They have a bit of a different look now, but at the time, with just how her hair was and her flannel and just the body type, the skin tone, and not so much the skin tone, she's darker, but...
Dude, Halloween costume, man.
I know, right? I actually used to have a picture on my Instagram of her when we just were hanging out once in Toronto, and I was like, oh my God, you look so much like Anita Sarkeesian today. We had to take a picture of this, because I think she even had like red lipstick on that day or something, and it just looked...
You've got to send me this picture,
It was really
man.
funny.
You got to send me this picture.
I don't think I still have it anymore. Because I cleaned out my Instagram at one point just because I wanted to start taking it more seriously, and it's mostly just dumb, stupid pictures of like, here's a computer, here's a food. And now it's mostly just pictures of my cats.
More seriously, eh?
Significantly more seriously. I cannot think of something more pressing and important to everybody on the internet than watching my cats, me playing with my cats, and what my breakfast was.
So yeah, the big five, you have openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Yeah, so I had to learn about this in university. I went, for those of you who don't know, I went to university twice because I dropped out, went to work, came back. And psychology was my second time around. But so I learned about these five, and I also learned that they are just over 50% genetically inherited. And so there are things you can do. For example, if you are low in extroversion, which it seems like you probably are, there are
very low. There
are exercises you can do to actually kind of make yourself higher in extroversion, if you like. And
I'm interested.
Yeah. And basically, like, it's kind of as you hit like middle age, like late 30s, in your 40s, that kind of thing. It's generally recommended by people that if you want to like round out your skill set, make yourself a bit more competent in anything that you're doing, You find which of the big 5 you're low in, and kind of train yourself to be higher in them. So.
Okay, extroversion is probably my lowest then. I am actually really big into skill building. That's something I started taking seriously a couple of years back, and my life has improved absolutely massively. I like to set a lot of goals and stuff. Like I'm the best shape I've ever been in because I've spent. I've always liked to work out. But I've really started to up my knowledge on it this year. The last 2 months have been dedicated to fixing my posture, and now I stand up the straightest I ever had in my life. I'm in the least pain. Although part of being in the least pain is that I started smoking weed just over a year ago, and that has done wonders with my joint pain because I have Ehlers-Danlos, which is a legitimate reason to have medical marijuana, but it's legal in Canada anyway, so
It doesn't matter, yeah.
it doesn't matter. I can just purchase it, and it turns out I'm a big fan, and like with everything, as soon as I get passionate about something, I want to learn every little thing about it. So I could tell you all the science behind it and the different temperatures and how it works. And
do you get like a discount because it's medical, or?
It's not medical. I mean, it is medical, but I didn't get a medical license. I simply waited until it was legal and then purchased it. Because the way I look at it is I have the money to just pay for it full price, whereas other people don't, so I don't want to put that burden on them.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. So someone actually sent us weed cookies in the mail.
You don't weed a hole, do you?
I do not, but Dave does, so
okay, there you go.
He had 2 yesterday and like was stoned out of his mind.
Smoke the weed, bruh. I do have some on my table right now, loaded up and ready to go. But I have not started smoking. I don't even know on YouTube. I know you're not. If you show it, that they get very restrictive on that. Now,
You're just smoking a cigarette. You're smoking a cigarette. That's what's going on, right?
Now, actually, I vape actually because it's much better for your lungs.
Yeah, fair enough.
But and you know, I don't want to fucking wreck my lungs. He sounds like so many other people. Interesting.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's kind
sorry.
of unique.
I just saw random. I just saw random ones. Like I've never heard that before. Do they mean voice? Do they mean what I'm saying? I'm curious. Anyway, sorry. I smoke for my health is this decade's version of I read for the articles. No, legitimately, I started smoking weed for the sake of my health.
That is kind of apt though, that comparison.
It is pretty funny. I will say though that like legitimately, I think I've become a better person since I started smoking weed because I'm already a high conscientious person, even though I'm very, very blunt with my words. I'm sure you've noticed, like I don't hide my opinions at all. I just say things. Like I'm very confrontational. I'm big Pokemon YouTube guy. I could get canceled for showing up here. I don't give a shit. I will just show up here. And if somebody wants to say I'm a Nazi for doing it, I'm just going to say, he's my friend, not yours. I know he's not a Nazi. I know I'm better than you do. And I know that because of the aforementioned friendship. So suck my dick. Like that's well, my response to that is no, I know him better than you do. Believe it or not, I know my friend better than you know that stranger.
Well, the honest truth is that's kind of what's been happening with Sargon recently, is that because of Sargon's interactions with BreadTube, and forgive me for saying this, but BreadTube is probably the most cancerous part of YouTube right now. Like by fucking far, full of just completely disingenuous people. Like it is as bad as like the IBS people of 3 years ago. You know,
is Vosh as blatant as I always hear in terms of just like I from what I hear of him, it seems like he kind of puts on a facade of how he is, just for the sake of always winning the argument. Is that an accurate thing I've heard about him? Because I haven't watched him, so I don't want to judge too harshly.
Partially, yes. That's definitely part of it. He has no problem with arguing in bad faith to win arguments, if that's what you're asking. The answer is yes.
See, that's why I don't like Destiny, is I feel like he'll
Destiny's better than Vosh in that case. Like, Destiny's not great in terms of that, but Vosh is significantly worse. And
the funny thing is, I like Destiny specifically. I actually knew him when he was a StarCraft pro, before he was a debater, I guess you would say now, a live streaming debater. And I disagree with tons and tons of things he said. I think he's argued in bad faith tons. he's simply a very polarizing character, and some people like him based on his personality and his confidence and his outlandishness and everything. And I understand that because my favorite art is professional wrestling, and so of course I understand the appeal of a bad guy. I understand the appeal of the trash talker, of the Muhammad Ali. The famous quote from the 50s, I believe it was, of Gorgeous George, one of the first very famous pro wrestling heels. What he told a young Muhammad Ali was, people will pay a lot of money to see your mouth get shut.
Yeah,
so I
true,
understand.
Man.
I understand the appeal of a brash, outspoken bad guy who doesn't give a shit what you think about him. That's a powerful figure that people look up to. However, I generally think that he argues in bad faith quite a bit, because I do think that he gets a high off of a victory more so than a genuine conversation about ideas.
If that's how you feel about Destiny, Vosh is that ramped up far beyond anything Destiny's ever done.
That's very frustrating.
Yeah.
He seems more soft-spoken from what, like, the tiny clips I've seen. He was more soft-spoken than Destiny, but, again, I've seen, 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, what's a good way to put it? Vosh is Ethan Ralph, just from the socialist side instead of the far-right side.
Okay. I think I know enough about Ethan Ralph to know what you mean by that. I don't know him super well, but I know the Ralph retort. I've heard the name many times. I've heard many people talk about him from different perspectives. I think I have a general idea. I don't think Vosh is attempting to play the heel, mind you, whereas Destiny knows he's riling people up. I don't know if Vosh is trying to be the villain. I just think he's arguing in bad faith.
Yeah. Vosh isn't trying to be the villain. I think he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's not. No, Vosh thinks a lynching mob is for the greater good. Okay, we can talk about that if you like. Okay, so that's interesting.
Vosh, now, is that hyperbole, or is that something he said?
That's something he said, and he didn't say it directly, but the logical outcome of his argument was pro lynching mob. Okay, so the basic idea was that Destiny and Vosh had a final debate, and in the debate they were talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. You know that situation, right?
Yes, and sorry, I hate to interrupt. That newest comment there, Vosh called Count Dankula a white supremacist, only to admit in the debate that he didn't actually think that. That is literally the first thing I ever saw and heard of Vosh.
Yeah.
And that alone made me think, I don't want to judge too early, but that's a real scumbag move. I think you need to be pretty intentionally dishonest or very uneducated on the situation to genuinely believe that Count Dankula is a Nazi. It's so blatant that Dankula is not, that it can only come from ignorance or maliciousness. It's unbelievable.
He called me that because of my my video on the Scott Pilgrim song. He said I was a Nazi for that. I think it was fascist, not Nazi, but still.
Okay, so he called you a fascist because of your opinion on the song.
Yes.
Okay, then I can confidently say right now in front of an audience, I currently have no respect for Vosh. I give people respect until their actions have told me that I should not immediately give them.
Yeah,
and if he's respectful to me, then maybe I would change my mind. I get the feeling he wouldn't be. However, there goes the initial opening of respectfulness. If I were to ever have a conversation with him, then my side of the conversation would start with, why did you say this about my friend? I like to talk to people on a human level. I feel like that usually gets through to them.
If this clip gets back to him, like clockwork, you will have a very friendly, very courteous invite onto his stream where he can monetize your differences.
Yeah, I believe it.
That's what he does.
Well, if he wants me on, then the unfortunate answer is, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. I'm just not a debater.
Yeah, fair enough. He did it to like Vito. Is it Vito Gesualdi or whatever? What's his name? I have to find it on YouTube or on Twitter. Sorry, but he has like a decently big channel. And he was saying some stuff about Vosh, and then he said a couple minutes later, just watch, Vosh is gonna appear in my mentions and invite me onto stream. And as soon as he posted that, Vosh posts, hey, you want to come on my stream and talk about it? And it was like clockwork. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, youtube.com/Vito. Vito Gesualdi. If you know who that guy is.
I don't know the name. If Vosh were to message me and ask for it, I would simply say we can talk it out in private if you'd like. I'm fine with that. I'm willing to give him a chance, but on his show, for him to monetize and everything, for him to just try and I don't want to say like leech off or anything because that's unfair. I'm sure it's more complicated than that. But again, I don't want to assume intent. Even if it looks this way, I haven't met the guy. I don't want to be too mean. But I would say to him that I'm perfectly willing to talk about it in private and explain to him why I think there's a 0% chance that you're a fascist. And I think I have pretty good rationale why, having watched the vast majority of your political videos, I think I have a decent idea on your opinions on those kinds of things, and that no, you are not at all authoritarian, and to be fascist, you have to be authoritarian. I don't think I've missed a memo on that one. I think I can make a fairly good argument for that. As for do I want to do it in front of an audience on his live stream? No, because I'm not a debater, and I know that a practiced debater could run circles around me in public to try and win. I'm not interested in winning. I'm interested in presenting my case and changing one man's mind in private about my friend.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. But to go back though, they were debating the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, which was the guy who was defending the business. He was like the 17-year-old with the rifle, and there's like
right
some
that one, yeah. You're working on a video on that. I remember you've been talking about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty big video, but there's like some ambiguity there because some people think that like he started it, other people think that he didn't. When he was being chased down the street by 3 people, one of them had a gun, one of them had a knife, and he ended up killing 2 of them with his rifle because and he appears to have followed the law pretty much to the T, because he in the state that he was in, he had a duty to retreat, which is what he did. He was running away. And when they caught up to him and he fell over, he had to shoot, or else they would shoot him. And Vosh and Destiny were discussing just the ethics of the situation, not what's legal, but like what's actually right to do. And Vosh's argument was basically, if a mob of people is coming at you and you have your weapon, in order to preserve more lives, it is better that you throw down your weapon and have them potentially kill you than to kill multiple people in your own self-defense.
No, I completely disagree with that. I think that's absurd. If you haven't done something wrong and they're trying to kill you, don't just sit there and be a victim. Like, that's insane. But like that is crazy.
That justifies a group of white people who are racist chasing down a black person and lynching them.
I know, like that's fucking terrifying. That shouldn't be happening to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I don't care what the rationale is. Don't kill someone. If it's self-defense and it's the last resort, then yeah, that's going to happen, unfortunately, and that's awful. But if there is any other way this could be handled, through someone perhaps being arrested, then preferably don't do that. Don't fucking lynch someone. And if you have no legal justification to kill someone, then obviously you should not have a lynch mob.
Yeah.
Lynch mobs aren't a good thing when anybody's in charge.
Yeah.
The only time I can think of a lynch mob being justified is like you have a dictator, maybe, you know?
Like a lot of memes come out of that because Vosh's words were like, submit to the justice of the mob, which was
that's scary.
Holy fuck. Yeah. And also,
he could have worded that better.
He brought up Marvel movies to justify it, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It was honestly hilariously ridiculous.
It's a movie.
Yeah, I know. Sargon did like a reply to the debate, and he said, "Listen, this is not morally ambiguous. If you have a mob of people who are coming to kill you, and you have a weapon, you shoot them, and if you run out of ammo, you reload." Like that's how it is. If there's 100 people and they can't be talked down and you haven't done anything wrong and they all try to kill you, you are justified killing all of them if you have to. If they will not stop, they will not run away, they will not leave, they will just mindlessly charge at you like zombies. In fact, that is what makes the zombie trope morally justifiable. It's because they're mindless. It's because they won't stop.
Yeah, they cannot be reasoned with.
Yeah.
Now that I don't want to go comparing any living human. Just for the record, I don't want to go comparing any living human to like a mindless zombie because people aren't.
Yeah,
People can be reasoned with 99% of the time, but we've seen a mob mentality. Some people in the moment cannot be reasoned with.
Yeah, and if
But you
that
you should still absolutely attempt before you go pulling a
yeah
gun. But like, look, the simple fact of the matter is sometimes it's less than a second between your death and possibly being able to defend yourself. And I'm not going to get on someone for perhaps making a hasty decision in that.
yeah. So that was the Destiny Vosh final debate, and it was strange because like his chat was entirely on his side, as always, because that's how it is whenever you like if you and I were debating, my chat would be on my side. Like that's just kind of how it is, you know.
You say that. I always hear people say that of like their chat is always on their side and blah blah blah. I've made such a nice community, and it's not through like anything but being myself.
Mhm.
When you try to be unrelentingly understanding with people, the people who are closed-minded assholes get weeded out really fast because they get too frustrated to watch you anymore. And
Yeah,
so I have a
that's
community that
true,
is
yeah.
super accepting of new people. They're super welcoming of new people. They are open to new ideas and everything. We have people all over the political spectrum who just hang out and play video games together. Like my community, it always gets called super friendly.
One guy in the chat's like, "No, fuck you, I'm with my tribe, right?" but you know what I mean, though, right? Like generally,
I do know what you mean. Like,
yeah,
vast majority of the time, the majority of people are going to side with you because they know you and they like you.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, we have a lot of overlapping audience, it sounds. But yeah,
Surprisingly, yeah.
if I went off the rails, we would tell you. Yeah, exactly. Like I did the video about Carrie Kesbox yesterday, just because even though I knew she had done a lot of terrible things, specifically to me, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt because I think she's somebody who was probably just scared and unused to talking to somebody who, you know, has subs even at my range. I'm not that big, you know. I'm not small,
You're
but I'm
pretty
not
big compared to a small YouTuber, definitely. I wouldn't
Yeah.
consider you a small one. Just to confirm, that's the person you did an interview with, and then you did a video where like they tried to take your video down, and you explained your argument, and you basically explained why you don't necessarily think this is all bad intent or whatever. And
Yeah.
even though they did a little bit of a hissy fit on Twitter, yeah, I actually just watched that maybe an hour before I got on the podcast with you.
Yeah, it was that situation, and like I'm trying to give people more benefit of the doubt because when I was younger, I was probably very Vosh like when I was younger. I never gave anybody the benefit of the doubt, and it was bad for me and bad for everyone else around me. And I still occasionally have like that old habit flares up every once in a while, and I can't like I'm trying to get to really get a damper on it or something, but I have some success, like, and in the same way that you've talked about, like I've also been finally losing weight. You know, I'm in the best shape that I've been in about 5 years. So that's
I'm happy to hear it.
That's pretty good. I lost enough weight that my sex drive came back. That's pretty nice.
That's good. Hey, if you ever want like weight loss or workout tips or anything, if you ever want to share tips, I'm always open for it.
Sure, man. Yeah, like I'm still fat. There's nothing. I'm still really fat, but like I've been losing weight, and it's been like a slow. I've been doing like not full keto, but like keto light. You know, where I still have like sugar, but it's like an apple. You know, it's not like I'm not having like you know grain sugar.
You're eating lower calorie, higher satiating foods.
Yeah.
Apple is one of the highest satiating foods for its calorie count, mostly because of the large amount of water in it.
Yeah.
I believe it's number 3.
So yeah, I've been eating like fruits, and I've been eating lots of leafy greens, lots of meat, lots of dairy. You know, I've pretty much cut out with like maybe once a week I'll have toast. That's like like a carb,
honestly,
but yeah.
Don't avoid carbs too hard. But as long as you count calories, you'll be fine. And if you don't want to count calories, then just eat high satiation food, which is what you're doing, and you'll naturally become full before you hit your calorie limit for the day.
Yeah, but I'm like working out more. I've been getting stronger. I've been basically working harder than normal. Like basically up until the past month, 2020 was the best year that I've had in a really long time, and I kind of feel bad for it because everyone else's year sucks. But I've been like doing great. You know what I mean?
Me too. I've been doing very well, and I'm happy that I have. Because like with everyone else doing so not well, I'm happy that I'm kind of around to be the rock in the center that helps hold a lot of people together right now.
Yeah, it's the same thing over here. I just kind of feel bad sometimes that everyone's suffering, and I'm like, well, like I'm not big enough to help everybody, but I can help at least my girlfriend.
Hmm.
Because like at this point, Dave has a hernia that is progressing. He can't work. He's been basically on
That sucks.
unemployment for a month. It's going to be another few months. So like at this point, Dave's pay comes from the Game Boomers Twitch channel.
Okay.
So like, by the way, guys, watch that Twitch channel because that's what keeps him fed right now. Naomi
Yeah.
has like a recurring shoulder injury that's not going away. We can't really afford the physio for it right now, so I've been taking care of her. So it sounds like I'm in a similar situation to you, just maybe a few years ago.
Hmm.
So
Do me a favor when you see her later, off stream or whatever.
mhm,
Have her just stand up, hands neutral at side.
mhm.
Just tell her, relax, stand normally, and then just look at which way her thumbs are pointing when she's just standing there. If her thumbs are when her hands are neutral, if her thumbs are going out forward, then her
Mhm.
shoulders are back. She's in good posture. If you have a shoulder injury, her thumbs are probably kind of bending inward. They're pointing a little more at each other. If so, she's rounding her shoulders, and that could be something to work on. That's a good starting point on fixing that.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah, I'll make sure to talk to her about it. When she's at work right now, but I'll talk to her when she gets home.
Awesome.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I feel like a lot of the things that you've been saying. Obviously, there's differences in like how certain events have played out, different people. You know how it is, but like a lot
Hmm.
of the general struggles of your story have been similar to mine in a lot of ways. So I kind of like I feel the same way.
Hmm.
Okay,
Will he change his name to Short Fit Otaku? That's
I
great.
could if I get like a 6-pack, I will. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm actually very close to abs for the first time in my life.
nice man, nice.
I'm getting so close. It's hard, man. Poutine is so good, but
You have to have like one poutine and then just make that the only thing you eat that day.
I actually, with calorie counting, I have been able to have it and break even on calories on like normal eating days. It's pretty sweet.
Nice. Okay, but yeah, to go back because we've abandoned like 5 topics now just from talking normally.
Sorry,
No,
it's just
fine,
how
it's
I
fine.
talk.
Yeah, I get it. But because I wanted to kind of imprint something on you. So the whole thing with Destiny, you now have at least the basic idea of Destiny Vosh. They fought over that. Vosh's chat and basically the other bread tubers and people who are friends with Vosh were in his chat, saying that like how could Destiny possibly believe this? Like it was strange to see like I think what's his name, Vadim or whatever. I don't know this guy's name. I think the Serfs were in there. I think she was in there, and they're all like, "How could Destiny possibly believe this?" And it's like, well, it's Destiny's kind of reasonable this time around, guys. But
Didn't he get his partnership revoked?
yes, well, this is the next part of the story. Is that the rest of the internet found Destiny to be quite reasonable, and as it turns out, I don't know if you guys know this because I think it only recently came out like yesterday, but the person who got Destiny's partnership revoked was Vosh's girlfriend.
Wow,
And
that's not cool. You
and
went after it. What's that? What was that called in China? Going after someone's rice bowl.
yeah,
That's really fucked up.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was Vosh's girlfriend because Vosh didn't want it necessarily pinned to his name.
That's fucking awful. I want to point out, I know a lot about these fucking Chinese political maneuvering techniques because I have family from Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are planning on probably leaving, but they're kind of attached because
They should get the fuck out of there right now, dude.
I know my granny and my uncle have lived. Granny just moved there fairly recently. My uncle has lived there for like 15 years now. He loves it there. He the Toronto film scene and the Hong Kong film scene are closely attached. He's a comic book writer and storyboarder and stuff, and editor, freelance editor. Worked on stuff like Bavar. And
Yeah.
so he ended up, going to Hong Kong a lot. He met his wife there. They've lived there for a long time. They want to leave to Japan because they quite like Japan and they do have residency there, and it would be safe to move over there and they'd quite like it. However, she is still really attached to Hong Kong because she was born there and they don't want to leave, but it's looking like it might just be inevitable.
Yeah, it's time to go. So someone in the chat is saying it was Twitch legal. And yes, of course it was. But here's the thing. Twitch is so draconian in its policies that if you have a sufficient enough audience to shine a light on any channel, they will find a reason to ban you. So it's literally the act of reporting that is the problem, because frankly, people should just be left alone, you know? Like, I'm sure if you reported my Twitch channel, you'd probably find something that I said at some point over the past 10 years or whatever, right? And same with yours, you know? Like, Twitch, it's one of those it's one of those platforms where if you want to fuck with somebody and they're on Twitch, you can do so if you have enough if you have enough clout. Just mass report, you know?
Yeah, it's awful.
It's kind of scummy. But in any case, though, so that happens. And then, like, at the same time, I put out a tweet because there was that thing that happened between Shu on Head and I and Sargon that happened. And at some point, Shu had said, "Listen, the whole I take all of Vosh's takes. I agree with all of his takes. That was a joke, and I didn't realize it was a joke. But that was a joke, and I was like, okay, well, shit, you know." So I put out a tweet and I said, "Listen, guys, Shu said it was a joke, so let's give her some of the benefit of the doubt." And I said, let's give the left the good faith that we wish they gave everybody else.
Yes.
And I put that tweet out. I don't know if you saw that, but I put that tweet out.
I don't think I saw that individual tweet, but I agree.
Yeah. And Vosh reads this tweet off on his stream and makes fun of me for making it. And I'm like, this is a good faith attempt at me trying to, you know, at least calm down some of the drama, maybe rebuild a bridge. And you're going to make fun of me for... Yeah, Shu and
for
Vosh...
how you worded it?
Like, I don't know, but like Shu and Vosh, they're friends, and like here I am trying to get some people off the back of his friends, and he makes fun of me for it. It was one of the most bad faith things I've ever seen in my life, you know?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I don't know a whole lot about BreadTube. I don't know a whole lot about who is or is not in BreadTube. I feel like I only started hearing that term
Stay out of it.
recently.
It's fucking cancerous. You don't want to poison your brain with that shit. Jesus.
Yeah, I tend to not try to get into that stuff too much. You know, you see it. You see it online because, you know, you follow people who are interested in it, and so it might get retweeted, or maybe someone makes a video vaguely about someone involved in it. But it just seems like okay, so a term that I heard a very, very, very long time ago. And the source I heard it from will make you laugh because, and I'm sure you will immediately know why when I say the name. There was a tweet that kind of opened my eyes a little when I was fresh out of high school. So like 10 years ago ish, where I used to not be very politically aware, generally thought, oh, communism sounds great. And was like, I'm left because the left wing loves science and the right wing are stupid and wrong on everything. And I wasn't very politically active. It was just, if you asked me, I'd be like, how does anyone vote Republican? They're wrong on everything. Like, that's just what my opinion was because I didn't know much.
Well, to be fair, that was actually true around the year 2000. It's not so much true now.
In fairness, around that time, there was a lot of ridiculous evangelical bullshit. And I'm atheist. I'm not like a militant atheist. I don't care if you're religious. Fatima was religious when I asked her out. I don't care. And sorry, where was I going? Right, the tweet that kind of opened my eyes a little bit was just hearing a different opinion in passing from someone I really respected. Maybe like made me realize, oh, there's more to this. And it was Spoonie tweeted out something in passing when talking about a bill. He was like, this is typical. The left eat their own.
What was the...
That's something that Spoonie said like 10 years ago in passing in like a tweet or a vlog. And that made me take a pause and be like, oh, like, I respect this guy. At the time, he hadn't thrown all of his fucking hissy fits. But at the same time, I've always known he's manic depressive before he ever publicly said anything. Because it's obvious.
It was kind of obvious, yeah.
Yeah, my dad's manic depressive. I know how to spot it. It's the same. It's bipolar 1 manic depression. Fucking obviously. So I knew what it was, and I didn't take his outbursts very seriously because I'm like, okay, when he comes to, he's gonna feel ashamed of this in his private time, and I don't want to pile on that. I was one of a small minority, unfortunately, because I grew up with a family member with that, so I understand. But he actually had a comment about that where he said like the left eats their own, and at that time I'm like, do they? And like I was still vaguely like, communism sounds great. Every government can corrupt, so why not have communism? I was like that for like a couple more years still before I started to, I don't know, mature a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hate if that sounds condescending. I hate if that sounds condescending. I don't mean for it to be condescending. It's just that's how it feels to me, you know?
There's a bit of truth to it.
Yeah, and so I...
Oh, sorry, I have to jump in here real quick. Everyone's asking about my Twitter. I am not on Twitter. But my editor Reggie, everyone currently listening should follow him. It's SFO Secretary. He's a great guy. Follow him.
Yes, everyone go follow him. Great guy. That's definitely not anybody in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing a lot in the chat here. Shoes not with armored skeptic.
Yeah, they broke up months ago. It was like on February.
Oh, that's a shame. They seemed like they were close.
Yeah, but well, no, we probably shouldn't talk about that because it's just personal stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't want to get into their personal stuff. They both
Yeah.
seem like lovely people from the bits and stuff I've seen.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to keep going with your story, or like, did you have somewhere else to go, or because I have something I was going to say.
I'm not going to say like that was like a landmark moment that I think about every day or anything, but I think it was one of the first times I started to realize, okay, maybe like there's a little bit more to this than what I knew before. And all it took was someone that I really respected at the time. Now, so not so much, but it's someone that I really respected at the time, just giving me a hint of a different perspective was really all it took for me to realize maybe I should shut my mouth on this. I don't think I know as much as I actually think I do, you know?
Yeah, that's actually the awakening point for a lot of socialists, because a lot of socialists just think, well, you know what? I have this set of ideas. It encompasses all possible human behavior, and I don't even need to know about all possible human behavior. I just need to follow the theory, which sounds very religious to me. And then once people kind of gain a little bit of humility and realize, like, hey, I don't actually know everything. Maybe I shouldn't just think that I can centrally plan an entire society and it's just going to fucking work. Because no one is that smart, you know?
It's impossible.
Yes. Yeah. No one is smart enough to say that all of their ideas will work all of the time, and that there's not. And if you just follow this school of thought, then you'll get to the socialist utopia. Never happens. It never will. Like, society is a collaborative effort, and it takes multiple political philosophies on both the left and the right to build a functioning society.
Yes. Also, as a quick aside, someone in the chat was saying that they heard that Spoonie and Razorfist are the same person, and they're asking if that is true or not. I will say that is impossible because one's double the weight of the other one. Like,
dude, for years, I thought Styx and Razorfist were the same person.
Really?
Yes.
I only learned about Styx well after I learned about Razorfist. I have been watching Razorfist for a very, very, very long time. Yeah,
no, for like 2 years, I thought they were the same person. It was kind of ridiculous.
I understand why people think that, because Razor talks up Spoonie a lot. It's funny because as much as Spoonie's gone off the deep end, Razor has to this day always said that Spoonie is like one of the funniest people, and I agree, because when you watch even when you watch his streams nowadays, which is like he looks like he's a shell of his former self, the poor guy, but you get those moments where you're like, oh shit, like this guy really was funny. Like, this guy is quick-witted.
Yeah, there's like sparks that you can kind of see. You occasionally see like young Spoonie behind the mask, you know?
Yeah, when he just drops the fucking attitude for a second and just has a little fun, you realize like, oh, that there's an intelligent guy buried behind this misery that he's engulfed in, you know? I feel so fucking bad for that guy. I hope there's a redemption arc for him, because fucking I've seen how manic depression can just ruin a person. I haven't talked to my dad in years with all the shit he has done. And like, I just don't want that to happen to Spoonie. I want to see him get things together and be okay in the end, because he's a guy who ruined himself, you know? He could be anything if he just could get it together.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the third thing I wanted to bring up is you know who Lilith Levitt is, right?
Of course. Yeah.
You follow her on anything, or you know what she does?
I followed her on Twitter. I've seen every Dumping with Scrump, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I know all about her and stuff. I think she's great.
Wait, you've seen her Pornhub?
I have not. No. I am fully aware though.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So Lilith watches a lot of different people from all different sides of the political spectrum, and fair enough. She watches some Vosh, and at some point she managed to get onto like a call-in section of Vosh's show. This is the third and final Vosh anecdote, by the way.
Okay.
As to why I think he's just generally like a disingenuous person who never says anything in good faith, and he's literally just so radicalized. He tries to get an edge in on anybody he talks to, just so he has like something over them. But anyway. She shows up and he kind of gushes over a bit and is like, "Oh my god, yeah, you're the Twitter libertarian. I love you so much. This and that, right?"
Mm-hmm.
The conversation turns to me, and Lilith. This isn't her fault because she didn't see it coming, but it was
Mm-hmm.
entirely the way that Vosh worded his. It kind of had like used the words that he used. Basically, the conversation went such that Vosh asked if Lilith and I were dating.
Okay.
Lilith said, "Oh no, absolutely not." And then Vosh kind of like he didn't let her finish and just asked another question, but he had like the look on his face like, "Okay, well, very obviously SFO is a simp for Lilith." And it's like, "No, it's because one, I have a girlfriend, and two, I introduced Lilith to her girlfriend." So like, no, we're not dating, and like it's not like I'm a simp because she also said that I gave Lilith a computer, which
Mm-hmm.
I did. That's completely true. And like the way the conversation was framed is like Vosh was semi-exposing me as being like a weird hanger-on of Lilith's who's trying to get into her pants, which is not at all the case.
That's frustrating.
And like what it actually is that I'm involved in a charity that takes e-waste because this town is a town that has a lot of e-waste just due to the nature of the industry here. I
Mm-hmm.
take e-waste, I refurbish it into workable computers, and I give them to people who can't afford computers.
I think
And
that's a really noble thing to do.
and
Thank you.
and Lilith, because not to reveal too much about her personal life, she needed a computer and she couldn't afford one. I said, "I'll mail you one," and that's what I did.
Yeah, that's just what friends do. You know, once
Yeah.
I had a friend probably about a year ago now who came over to my place. She had some computer parts and she wanted to learn how to make a computer, so I just offered to make it with her. And when we got the computer parts there and everything, and we're looking at it, I'm like, you know what? I have some parts laying around. We could really upgrade this thing. And so we literally just bought some new parts and we just made her a totally fresh computer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I paid for it because it's just fucking friends doing friendly shit. What's so wrong with that? Like, why does that have to be anything beyond what it is? Does the fact that she's female make me a simp? No, it was me, her, and my wife were friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think it's because like Lilith's attractive. She has an online profile. It's that kind of thing, right? And,
It's so
and
frustrating.
also because I'm politically opposed to Vosh, that would be the angle that he would use to say something negative about me if he had the chance. So when he got a chance to talk to Lilith, he spun the conversation that way. And by the end, he was like, "Well, good job expropriating reactionary capital away from SFO." And Lilith, having no idea what to say, just kind of laughed about it. And I was like, "What? Fuck you." Like
Sorry,
Christ, man.
run that by me again. What he just said, that was dense.
Good job expropriating reactionary capital.
So good. So what he's trying to say, a fancy his language way of saying, good job wasting that guy's money.
Yeah.
That's a dick move. I'm sure maybe he tried to play it off as a joke. I don't know, but that seems needlessly rude.
Mm-hmm.
To say that about someone's friend too, right in front of them.
And like Lilith, she didn't know exactly what to say. And I went to her later, not to reveal the full private conversation, but I went to her later and I was like, I don't think he was acting in good faith. I think,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't shitting on you, but he was using you to shit on me. And she was like, yeah, I kind of see that. And then as these more recent things have come out about Vosh, about the crazy stuff that's going viral on Twitter right now, and some of the takes and the behavior with Destiny, I was like, listen, Lilith, maybe you're a fan of this guy because he's funny. Because when he's not talking politics, he's very charismatic. He's very funny. So fair enough, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like, I was like, listen, this is not a good people. This is not a good person. And Lilith's girlfriend was like, this is not a good person. And like, I actually introduced Lilith to Sargon, and the reason I did that is because, and this is going way back to like an hour ago in the conversation here. Sargon has a very bad rap because of specifically because of clips taken out of context by the breadtube community where he talked to breadtubers.
Mm-hmm.
And people outside of Sargon's community have this view of him. And Lilith was one of those people. I'm like, listen, no. Sargon's not, he's not a transphobe. He's not an ethno-nationalist. I'm going to bring you two together and we're going to talk about it. And you're going to realize he's actually a really good guy. And
Yeah.
it turns out that all of Lilith's preconceptions about Sargon came from Vosh. And like me and Sargon and Lilith's girlfriend were all like, listen, this is not a good person, man. This is not
Mm-hmm.
somebody who is arguing in good faith. This is not somebody who cares about the well-being of the people that he interacts with. All right? And Lilith kind of, without talking about the private conversation too much, she kind of began to recognize it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, okay, maybe he did love bomb me a little bit." If you know what love bombing is, right?
Is that just where you're like really complimentary to someone right off the bat to get on their good side?
It is that, but it's a bit more complicated. Love bombing is like it's a term that you can find in the book Rules for Radicals, which is just basically a list of things that cults do to indoctrinate new people into their cults. Rules for Radicals. And
Yes.
love bombing is something where, like, when you have somebody who is a new recruit, a potential new recruit, you overwhelmingly give them positivity, but
Yes.
you also at the same time push your ideas onto them a little bit, and the positivity comes hand in hand with the ideas. So if the person rejects the ideas, then you withhold the positivity.
Yeah, that seems manipulative. The sheer fact that he would be, or that someone would be thinking about, okay, what is my strategy to make them like me, rather than just being honest and seeing if they end up liking you. I don't like that. I don't like trying to manipulate people like that.
Well, people are saying that they don't understand how people could fall for this. Dude, love bombing is common.
It's very common.
Abusive partners do it. It's not just a cultist thing. Abusive partners do it. Religious organizations do it. People who want to like spread a political persuasion. It doesn't matter. Left, right, doesn't matter. Everyone does this kind of thing, man. And people can get caught up on it so easy. It's a very human thing to get caught up in this sort of thing because everyone wants to be liked. So, like, I don't blame anybody who gets love bombed and then is like, this person really cares about me. It's like, do they really care about you, or do they care about you because you have an online following that they can use?
Yeah.
So
it's frustrating.
That when Vosh is talking to somebody who he's not directly opposed to, that is the exact kind of behavior he engaged us in, and he engaged in it with Lilith. And I was like, and like, not to shit on her because she's a great person. But one of her weaknesses is not being able to see those kind of things for what they are. And I was like, like, I have weaknesses myself. I can see that kind of thing, but like I overeat, and maybe I'm too like egotistical sometimes, or sometimes maybe I'm too like self-centered, or I'm too confident. Like we all have flaws, but one of Lilith's flaws is definitely like kind of susceptibility to that behavior.
I think that
so that's why I dislike Vosh. Like even though
I think everything you've said sounds very fair to me. Like that seems like a fair reason to not like somebody.
Yeah, like if it was just I disagree with his politics and I think his takes are dumb, I wouldn't care. It'd be like, okay, this is just someone like the Serfs who are just like they're like this 20,000 sub communist channel that I don't agree with. But whatever, they're not really harming anybody in the long run. They just kind of have their dumb opinions, and that's just the way it is. And it's like, okay, fine, we'll agree to disagree, we'll coexist. But they're not like actively abusive,
And that's I agree with Walter Mellon in the chat there, which is a great username. Fake positivity makes my skin crawl. Me too, because although I'm generally a positive person nowadays, I used to be a real pessimist. And I like to look more positively on things now, and I do think that it's helped me like mentally. I am just less of a dick as a result, and I feel more motivated, and I feel happier. I'm getting my goals done. I'm not fake positive. When someone asks me how my day's been going on a stream, I give them the honest answer, even if it's shitty, and even if I need to smile my way through it and be like, "Hey, let's try and fix the day," though. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to be more positive without faking positivity. I'd rather simply not go live if I cannot make myself organically positive that day. I think fake positivity just to put on a front for people doesn't help anybody. And maybe it has a good intention and maybe it has a bad intention, but I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'll go live over on Game Boomers if I'm not in a good mood, but only to a point. Like sometimes it's like I'm in a shitty mood. Let's play a terrible game and I'll rage at it, and that will be the fun thing of the stream,
Yeah, or like the stream, you're gonna go play a game you like. You're not in a good mood going in, but going in, you're gonna have fun with the chat. You're gonna have fun with the game, and it'll pick you up.
Yeah, yeah. For me though, it's like unless I'm extremely depressed or I'm like physically sick or like I'm hurt or something, then I won't stream. But like generally, even if I'm in a bad mood, it's like okay, I'll stream and we'll have like a grumpy show or something because grumpy shows can be
Mm-hmm.
fun in their own way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Also, if I'm like vastly overworked, because there are times like I'm working on big projects for SFO, and I just can't stream that night, and that's just kind of how it is sometimes. Which is,
Yeah.
I think it's more like a time management problem on my side because I work the 75 hour weeks that you do, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm not as efficient with my time as I could be. I know that for sure.
I'm very efficient with my time, to the fact that I was actually just recording some footage while we were talking a little bit, because I realized the hour rolled around that in Pokemon Emerald, the Shell Cave, the water would empty, so I could get an item I needed. So I literally got that while we were talking. Someone was asking earlier, is MTB grinding during this? No, I haven't been grinding during this. However, I did actually get some time-sensitive work done during this and keep up with conversation, because that's what I do.
Well, actually, what's funny is during the D&D sessions with Sargon and V and those guys, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whenever I'm doing that sort of thing, if I can get away with it because it's like a talk heavy session or it's like a long battle or it's like it's not something for my character to do, I will actually like do research for videos.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm not paying attention to the game. I am. But I have like on another monitor, I have like tabs open and I'm like searching and looking for things that I'm going to use in a video later. It's usually surface level searching, but it's like, okay, this link I can read later because it looks like it's relevant to this
Yes.
video, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Smart is just time management.
Yeah. So but there are definitely times though when like okay, so for example, um, Reggie argues on Twitter a lot sometimes, and that can actually impact Reggie's time management skills sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's still a situation where like an argument on Twitter with somebody who holds an idea that you're going to debunk in a future video can actually yield results because you can learn what their point of view is. So
Yes.
that helps. But it's such a vastly inefficient way to do it. You can spend 6 hours arguing and get only like a fraction of work done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Sorry, I was drinking water.
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand. But like sometimes Twitter can definitely be a problem, and I've been telling Reggie to spend less time on it, and recently he has been, and it's been better for everyone.
Good. I think most people could spend less time on Twitter. Unless you're me, then I need to spend more time on Twitter.
Oh, do you?
I don't argue at all on Twitter, but I
That's
am
good.
very active on Twitter because my Twitter is a big running joke on my show. Of I've been
Mhm.
trying to get verified all year, which I set long-term goals for before I hit certain ages, and there's always like a joke like I have basically no control over this one, and that's verification. I could rant forever about how insane the verification process is behind the scenes because I've been working with Twitter on this, and it's would blow your fucking mind.
Yeah. What do they do?
Oh, well, first of all, I had to have a company contact them on my behalf because they already had a contact there. And they've been giving me the runaround for 6 months now where I qualify. Twitter has told me that I qualify. But Twitter has also said that because of reduced staff due to COVID, they are not currently verifying anyone unless it is urgent, and that I need to present evidence that it is urgent. To which I replied to my guy who's doing the in between with, "What the fuck is an urgent Twitter verification?" They said it's in case you're getting impersonated, to which we were replied with, "No one is currently impersonating me, but people have in the past." To which they left on red for a month. So the process has been slow. They've been getting back to work, so we've been reapplying again. There's a lot of things. Yeah, Emp Lemon did a good video on Twitter verification. I have some details he didn't cover in that. In fact, I commented on that video. I think I might have one of the top comments, most liked on that video, actually, because I was talking about this story.
Mm.
But are you telling me, Twitter rep, that you checked my profile and you verified that I am Madrat Stowe and I own this account, but then you didn't verify me because it has to be urgent? You already did the legwork of figuring out that I'm me. If this is truly about verification and it's not just a badge of approval, and you've proven I'm me, then surely I get the check mark, right?
I actually do.
What is difficult about this? Are you telling me that they don't just click a button on their end?
I actually do think it's like at this point it has become a badge of endorsement. That's why Milo got de-verified. Yeah.
Exactly. I've always thought it was that I want it mostly because I could make good running jokes out of it. I've never hid that. Like, I don't want it because I think I'm more legit if I have it. Sure, maybe like some company or something wouldn't respond to me otherwise, but I basically turn down every sponsorship offer that I get anyway. So I basically just want it because I can make funny jokes out of it. And that's how I treat Twitter. Twitter to me is just another platform to goof off and have fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's useful. And actually, I think that it's useful to get like certain things out, and that's kind of important if you have like, you know, a channel or something or some kind of brand. However, it's also like, I think in the United States, it should be, or at least once the court cases go through, it'll be considered illegal to ban anybody from Twitter in the United States, specifically because there are agencies that put out alerts, like national agencies that can only be the information can only be gotten on Twitter, right? So like the National Weather Service puts out an alert, like there's a hurricane coming, puts it out on Twitter. That means that there's an American law that says that every citizen has to have equal access to a public service like that. And if Twitter's banning, then that means that they're interfering with the flow of that information, because it's an official government account. So like there's actually a legal position to be made, where that if you're banning somebody from Twitter and they're an American citizen, you're actually interfering in their ability to receive a federal service, which is, I hope that goes through, because that would be incredible to see Twitter get blown the fuck out in that way.
It would be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. So what did we cover? Okay, so I basically described to you why I don't like Wash. Okay, I think that conversation is done. Right, the big five. Okay, this is why I was talking about the Twitter arguments, because one of those Twitter arguments was on the big five, in fact, and they're around 50%, just a little bit over 50% inherited by genetics. Okay, and if you have hold on, I just clicked something accidentally. Okay, here we go. If you're high in conscientiousness, I can't even pronounce it, for fuck's sake. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yes.
I exactly know.
If you're high in that, there is a 50% correlation with being conservative politically. Okay?
Okay.
If you're high in openness, and if you're high
I'm both.
if you're high in openness, there's a 50% correlation of you being, you know, more left-leaning rather than more right-leaning.
Yeah.
So, and then there's also the case that certain jobs line up with certain personality types. Some of them very, very closely. Like for example, if you're high in openness, you are much more likely to not only be a leftist, but you're also much more likely to be in a creative job, which includes not only artists but also engineers. You know, like a lot of engineers are more left-leaning.
Yes, and I'm in a creative field. I do comedy, I do editing, I do improv, stuff like that, mostly script writing.
Well, here's what's interesting though, because if you're more conscientious and you're more right-leaning, then what ends up happening is like there are certain jobs that only those people do, which are like, lawyers, managers, people who optimize existing structures. You know.
Yes.
However, entrepreneurs and I think doctors, they almost inevitably end up being more centrist because they require both openness and conscientiousness.
That probably explains why I'm a capitalist. You know,
Same here.
When I came out of high school, I couldn't find work for a long time. That's what made my hobby into my job so quickly. When I always, had the thought in the back of my mind of, if this ever takes off, it'll be wonderful and it'd be my dream job, but I should get a standard, stable job in the meantime. I guess I shouldn't call that a stable job, considering all these years of people telling me, like, your job's unstable. Motherfucker, I'm the only one working now.
Yeah, dude, same here, man.
I'm the one supporting everyone. My friend just bought a house and a forest off the YouTube money he made making challenge videos, and he only started a few months ago. He's a part of the Canadian military, and he bought the house and the forest with his YouTube money.
That's awesome, man. I gotta start making fucking challenge videos. Jesus, would you guys
Yeah.
watch challenge videos, or would it tank my channel? Do you think?
Oh, just have fun with it. Make whatever you want to make. Don't care if anyone calls you this or that. What does it matter? The people who watch it are gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's
Um,
like I see a lot of people in the chat who say, that they'll very vehemently disagree with a lot of things in passing that I say, and it's just like, whatever I said wasn't for you. That's okay.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need to. Not everybody needs to be into it.
No, I agree. Yeah. So anyway, where I'm going with this though is that okay. So if these 5 personality traits are just over 50% inherited, and there's also a 50% correlation with political persuasion, as well as an even high. It's like I think a 60-40 correlation with employment. Well, if you demonize one side of the political spectrum, you end up losing a lot of your best people in the jobs that on that side of the spectrum, and 2, also a lot of your best people who have certain qualities that a society needs to function.
Mm-hmm.
So the people like I on Twitter there have been people who have said, like, I've asked, hey, what do you think that the right has anything to offer? Like, okay, you have all these leftist ideas, you think they're all good leftist ideas, fine. Do you think there is even a single good idea to come out of the right wing of politics? And they all inevitably say no. And I say, okay, well, if you believe that every single right wing person has no good politics, no good ideas, their takes on everything are objectively incorrect, and we also know that these people are at least somewhat biologically predisposed to be that way, what do you do with that population? Because they need some kind of political representation, and they do make up like half of the human race. So what do you do with them? And if the people are being more honest, if you're talking to a more honest radical leftist, it inevitably leads to killing them or imprisoning them. And then it's like, okay, well, aside from the moral problem of killing half of the population, you have now also killed almost all of your conscientious people. You've killed almost all of those people who would work those specific jobs that the right is more likely to work. Even the jobs that the center is more likely to work, like the entrepreneurs and the doctors. You've now gotten rid of most of those people. How does your society possibly function when those people are gone? And their answer is always, we can just re-educate other people to take those jobs, because they believe that every single part of human nature can be adjusted through education, which is just not true.
That's part of tabula rasa, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that tabula rasa is incorrect. Like, it is without a doubt incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are not a completely blank slate. Your genetics inform quite a bit. Everybody is an individual, absolutely, but you're pushed heavily in certain directions.
And you know what? The right wing has the exact same problem, because they have an extreme disrespect for the left. And then you can ask them the same question: do you believe any of the left's politics are correct? They inevitably say no. And then you say, well, okay, if leftists are the people who are the creative ones, if they create the new ideas, if they create the new innovations, if they're making the new things that society can build upon to actually advance society, they're making the new technology, they're making the new ideas, they're the philosophers, they're the ones who are thinking the problems through. If you destroy the engine by which your society gets new ideas, your society will stagnate. It's the same problem on the right. And people don't get that you have to have both the left and the right. And the far left and the far right thinks you can simply do away with your political opponents and everything will be fine. And it's not true. Like conservatives believe that anyone can make it if they just work hard enough. And that's not true. If you work hard enough, you maximize your chances. But no, some people are going to fall through the cracks, and something has to be done about taking care of those people. The left believes you can educate any person to work any job. And that's also not true. Because people have natural talents. The correct answer has always been in the center, I think. And I'm like slightly left of center, and I still believe the correct answer is always something that's been in the center.
I don't know if I want to go saying the correct answer is always somewhere in the center, because I'm sure there's a million examples and
Oh,
there's
sure, sure.
exceptions to the rule and
Yeah,
stuff.
of course, yes. But I'm talking in
But
generalities, you know?
I will say generally the best answer forward is somewhere close to the center, whether that be a bit left, a bit right, right in the center, whatever.
Hmm.
It's a bit of an arbitrary way of classifying the things, I guess, because it feels like left and right don't mean as much as they used to. I don't know if that's just me, but I would say the average good answer is not on the far left or the far right. I think it would be very rare that the correct answer is there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Like if it's the left wing of politics that holds the people who generate the new ideas, and then it's the right wing of politics who holds the people that will take those new ideas and optimize them and make them work in reality, you need both. You can't just dispel one side of the argument and then think that your society is not going to collapse, because it will, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like the right wing is very much hierarchies are good, you know, and true enough, they are. But they're also like, if you're in a low spot in the hierarchy, you deserve to be there, and you should just suffer for it. And it's like, no, that's going too far. But the left is like, hierarchies are oppressive, which is true. Therefore, we should remove hierarchies. No, because then everyone's at zero. You know?
I don't think you can remove hierarchies. It's so ingrained in how humans work. Like,
Yeah,
you'll make a peck. It doesn't matter if you remove the literal hierarchy. There's still going to be a pecking order that gets made.
Yeah, like the communist utopia of everyone's equal, everyone's in a commune, no one is higher than anybody else. Never going to happen. There's always going to be charismatic people who take over. There's always going to be people who are more competent, and therefore they get ahead more. Just how it is. It's just how it is, you know?
Some people are leaders. Some people are ambitious. There's a lot of personality traits out there that are not compatible with no hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. And if those personality traits are at least half biological, then you're fighting your own biology trying to implement, you know, the communist view of what equality should be. So like,
yeah, it doesn't work. Like
it doesn't work.
I just don't know how you could ever properly implement this and not have it be a total abject disaster, because it wouldn't just be awful for the people who this is not the way of life that is right for them. It would be awful for the people who exactly want exactly this, because they rely on those other people too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what you were saying before about how those people tend to lean towards those jobs, you will have shortages of those jobs if you were to somehow remove those people.
Yeah, like if you kill all leftists, for example, you're not going to lose all engineers and all artists. Obviously not. But like your society will suffer tremendously if you kill all leftists, just like it will suffer tremendously if you kill all rightists. And we're not even talking about the moral implication of killing people here, which is already beyond the pale. We're talking about what happens to society.
We're talking in extremes for the sake of just explaining an idea. Obviously, no one here wants anyone to die.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. This is not a crumb tuber debate. This is like a talk between friends.
Yeah, we're not talking about we're not debating heavily who needs to go to the gulag. We're simply talking about some ideas and why we don't think they work.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, man. Anyway, that was my big five rant, because whenever you bring up the big five rant and the big five and the fact that they are at least somewhat genetically inherited, you're going to get people who, when they're faced with that fact, the only thing that they say, and it can be on either side of the political spectrum, but right now it's on the left more commonly than the right. I'm sure it was the other way around 20 years ago, but like their reaction is, let them suffer. And it's like, no, you can't just tell half the population to suffer because you think you're right. You can't.
Yeah, it's so immoral. Like I don't know how someone can come to that conclusion and not be able to have the self-awareness to be able to say, are we the baddies? Like, at that moment, can you not look at yourself and be like, okay, hold on. Let's walk this back a little bit. What steps did I take to get to the point where I think that half of the human population are morally wrong? Like, at what point did you think that? Because I think the vast majority of people are morally reasonable, whether I agree with them on politics or not. I think like 99, if not more, % of people are morally reasonable people who, when not heavily misinformed, are fairly temperate. You know, like Actually, this is the only note I wrote down for this stream of a political thing I kind of wanted to talk about.
Okay.
When I woke up this morning, I went on my Twitter because a lot of people that I get back to are through Twitter DMs, and I took a glance at the trending thing, and trending was hashtag Trump is a loser. And this is like the 7th day in a row I've seen some hashtag insult on Trump. And I was looking at that, and Fatima walks in and she looks at it, and I just turned to her and I said, like, this is just bullying. Like, I don't even know what this hashtag is about yet. Maybe there was a gaffe, maybe, I don't know. Like, at this point, it just feels like you're bullying a guy. And I started thinking, like, I'm sure the people saying this don't see it as bullying, because maybe they say, you can't bully him. He's like a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever. He's rich as fuck. And they just look at the power dynamic of it, and it's like, he's a scumbag, he's evil, he's rich, take him down, blah, blah, blah. I think your average person who isn't super riled up already about this is a morally reasonable person, and they just, when they see that, what part of it do they relate to? They probably relate to the idea of being bullied or seeing someone get bullied, where it's literally just insert name is a loser, and is this mobs and mobs of people calling this guy a loser.
Hey, Rags is showing up in the chat.
It's just flagrant bullying at that point. Like, I'm sorry, you guys lost the last election, right? So do you really think that what's going to win over the people who could be swayed? Is it bullying someone, or is it convincing them that your ideas are the way forward? You're bullying a man. Like, what the bullying is so relatable to people. What makes them think this is going to win people over?
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be like no political acumen on the left right now. They don't understand that they have to convince people and not just shame them. Because if you shame them, like, you're like, you need to vote for my guy, or else you're a racist, or else you're a bigot. You have to, and then hammer that into someone's head for like 6 months or for a year, right? And then when they're in the privacy of the voting booth, do you think that they're going to be like, okay, you shamed me enough, I'll do what you want, or do you think they're going to say, yeah, well, fuck you? They're going to do what they want, you know? Like, you can't shame somebody into voting your way. You can't.
Yeah, because a vote is private. So they can literally just vote for one guy and then just tell everybody they voted for the other one because they're afraid of getting shamed. Like, they no longer have a reason to tell you the truth because you've already told them, hey, I'm ignorant. I'm not going to hear you out. So why would you be honest about it if you think there's going to be repercussions like that? Like, I know I'm in the minority on that, I guess, and that I would just say it anyway because that's just how I am. But why would you go through the hassle? You know, just vote for who you think is right. You're not gonna get called a racist until you vote for the way that they want you to vote. Who does that?
Yeah, and you know what? Half the time, if you acquiesce to the mob, they still fuck you anyway. So it's like, whatever, you know. It's better to have a spine and defy them and then be canceled than it is to give in to them and be canceled anyway. It's like, fuck it, man. I would rather take, maybe just because maybe this is like the asshole part of me, but I would rather take on a mob solely for the fact that I could say that I took on a mob than to give in to them.
Yeah, I'm kind of stubborn like that too. Like, I don't, it's not necessarily about like, I want to be able to say that I stood up to them. It's not necessarily that, it's that like, I'm a passionate person. I really take what I learn seriously, and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I try to be open to ideas, and I know that I'm a good person. And I'm very confident in that because these are things that I've thought about for very long periods of time, and I've thought seriously about what is the kind of man that I want to be.
Well, and that's good. I don't think I'm a good person at all.
Oh, that's.
I try to be. And I put a lot of effort into being because I know that, like, deep down I'm really not. So I try.
I think that I was not, but I have become a good person in the last couple years mostly. I'm over the hump where I can officially say I am close enough to the man that I want to be that I'm very proud of myself. And the last year of my life has really proven that to me because I can look back at my actions and everything and be like, wow, when I finally got the money that I would hope I would get one day, did I do those things that I told myself, oh, if I had money, I would do this nice thing and that nice thing? But I didn't actually have the money. So would I do that when I was there? And now I can look back at everything that I've done and realize, yeah, I was actually moral with this. Like I didn't crumple. And maybe I would have if this fame and money came to me when I was even younger. I probably would have like really fucked up. And just through good role models and really genuinely taking time to think about the man that I want to be and what does a man like that do? And I should do that. And just, that whole thing. I can confidently say at this point that I know I am a good person. That doesn't mean that I'm flawless. That doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes. I will definitely make mistakes. I will definitely say things that I will regret in a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. And I have weak moments and everybody does and blah, blah, blah. I'm human. However, I when someone wants to come at me and they want to throw all of these things at me and try to say like you're awful and blah 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 this and that, I used to feel like I really really had to defend myself, and although I still have that a little bit, I'll also think like, what did I do yesterday? Like before this incident happened, I had no idea that this was going to happen, that this person was going to throw these things at me. What did I do yesterday? I told my wife that I love her, and I made sure that I carved out a bunch of time to spend with her. I helped out this person with their YouTube channel and made sure that they knew, like, oh, don't put that word in your title, you'll get demonetized, stuff like that. I worked hard on my own job to make sure that everything's financially secure. I can look at my actions on the previous day when it couldn't possibly be at that moment that I'm trying to look good to save face because the event hadn't happened yet. And I can look back on that day and say, no, I was a good person that day. Like, I made a lot of people smile that day. And I did things that mattered to people. And that's how I know that I'm a good person, is that I didn't hurt anybody that day. I helped a lot of people. And I tried to help them, and it was for no gain of my own. So who is this person to come at me, a stranger, and say that I'm a bad person? Or to imply these things that they don't know about me? They don't know anything about me. They don't know Madrat Stowe. They know some initials on the internet, and they saw a profile picture, or they saw a 1-hour video at most. They don't know me, so why should I worry about that?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That actually makes complete sense, yeah.
I think it's logical.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's more like, I have no clue what being good is. I just kind of know what not being good is. So
okay.
I'm trying not to do bad things, and that is about as far as I'm willing to say that I've gone, because I don't think I've gotten any better than that.
Well, starting with self-control on bad behaviors is a really great way to improve yourself. For what it's worth, I think you're a good person from everything that I've seen of you and heard of you, and every time I've ever talked to you. You seem to get very upset by some things, but that does not make people a bad person. These are concerns everybody has. It's just some people bottle it up and some people don't, and some people only talk about some people, and I'm just one of those people that you'll vent to. And I like that. I like that you feel like you can trust me on that stuff. I really appreciate that, because it's how I know it's a real friend.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Dev becomes a good man when he marries and breeds. Sorry, guys, but Naomi's Jewish, so I'm not going to be continuing the white race.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that you married a Jew. It's okay, Vosh. I'm just giving you fodder for your clips.
Yeah. Oh man, there might actually be. Probably. I don't think I'm big enough at this point. It's funny because like when Vosh
I might be a big enough target.
Yeah, dude. When Vosh was smaller than me, he was talking like he wanted to debate me, and I didn't do it. And now that he's bigger than me, people are still saying debate SFO, and he's like, I don't want to make somebody's career by talking to somebody smaller than me. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Oh, that's pretentious. Come on. Don't want to make someone's career. Oh, that's one hell of an ego right there. Oh yeah, my God.
Like you and I talked when I was bigger than you. and now you and I talk when I'm smaller than you, and it doesn't fucking matter, you know? Like, I've been talking to Sargon, no problem. I've been talking to people bigger than me, people smaller than me. It doesn't matter. And I've always said it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
I talked
It
to
legit doesn't. I was watching a stream with 3 people earlier today because she followed me on Twitter, had like 5 followers or something. I saw she was a streamer, so it's just some person who followed me on Twitter. I kept the tab open because I like to pop into streams when I'm like grinding and stuff and just encourage small YouTubers and streamers. And so I popped in earlier and she was just talking about like, oh, me and my husband watch you all the time and everything. And it was just a sweet little interaction and I just encouraged them. Because like fucking... What? Come on, what small YouTuber does not want a YouTuber they're a fan of who's big and doing well to say, like, hey, you're doing a good job, keep with it, this is awesome, this is a fun time. Who the fuck wouldn't want that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like,
oh my god.
I'm in the unique position that SFO is big enough that I feel sometimes like it's kind of big. Like I'll stream the weekly sip or something, and I'll get like 1,000 people. It's like, oh, that's like not a bad number, you know. Like there are people who get like 10,000, 100,000, whatever. But like 1,000 is like more than I ever thought I'd get. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
No, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, like the chat's scrolling fast. I can't keep up with it, so I just gotta like hope that I'm entertaining enough without interacting with the chat too much. Like the 1,000 viewers on the weekly sip. It's like, okay, that's cool, man. Like neat. But then I also still have the small feeling because Game Boomers, I get between 50 and 100 viewers, you know? Sometimes 70, sometimes 50, sometimes 90. Like it bounces around, right? Depending on the game, the time, and whatever. And I'm like, it's still small over here. It still feels small, and it still feels personal. So I feel like I have... Because like streams can become impersonal when they get too big, and that's just the nature of growing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like I feel like I get the best of both worlds right now because I have a small channel and a large channel. You know?
Me too. Like when I stream on Twitch, I get between like 100 and 300 people depending on the game, but it still has this really great welcoming, intimate feel where like I can see the names, I recognize the names, I know the country a lot of people are from. That's something I like to try and remember is what country are people from. It's just like a fun little way of remembering people, and everyone's friendly to each other. People are so welcoming to new viewers and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It feels like, you know, you get people in the chat that are their own, you know, kind of recognizable because people are friends with them and everything. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's great. It's great. And what's even better is like when I'm watching like an SFO stream and the chat's flying by, and there's like I can see the people who watch SFO and Game Boomers. And I instantly recognize them in the SFO chat. I'm like, yeah, that's that guy. There's my friend, you know, like it's that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, like I can recognize a bunch of my viewers in the chat right now. Gamer Kenny's awesome. Retro was here earlier, probably making some wrestling references. He always does. Good quality shit, by the way. He always gets my references. It's perfect. If you don't know, I have a habit of slipping wrestling references into everyday conversations. It just flies by most people. But
it's literally Carney, isn't it?
It's not literally Carney. No, I'll slip in wrestling references in English, and no one will know because it is so natural in the conversation that it just fits. Like I consider myself a bit of a wrestling scholar because it's, again, my favorite form of art. And so he always fucking gets it. It's great.
Yeah, like I see Confused in there, you know. I see like it's like I see Yiz, but she's Wrench, so like that's kind of a different thing. But like yeah, I see. Yeah, there's a British Knight. I know who that is. Yeah, Infierter.
Don't
Confused.
marry a tribe member. Hawaiian Lion or Navajo Warrior?
Wait, sorry, what?
sorry. I was doing. It's a more stupid, obscure wrestling jokes. So I said, don't marry a tribe member, and so I listed 2 members of a tag team called the Tribe, which are 2 like 60-year-old wrestlers who are still on like a regional American indie in California, and I busted that out. Hawaiian Lion is a great fucking name, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Yeah,
that's badass. And Navajo Warrior, he's got like this great face painted beard kind of thing because, you know, they don't grow beards. They look fucking great. I love it.
I haven't watched wrestling in years.
We need to sit down and watch it together sometime. I love getting people into pro wrestling. I love it.
I used to watch it in high school. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
There's so many genres. It's why I say it's an art form, not just a genre of something, because there's genres within wrestling. I could talk about it forever.
Well, you know what? I do understand the appeal of of wrestling, though. It makes a lot of sense. And I don't even mean from like the physicality standpoint, even though there's a lot of physicality that goes into wrestling, obviously.
It's Shakespearean theater.
Yeah, like, oh god, man, I gotta think of a way to say this. I don't think I would insult you, but I insult a lot of other people. And I don't want to insult anybody.
No, it's okay. Just say whatever those words are, and I know I can give you the benefit of the doubt if it comes out wrong.
Yeah, it's like, it is Shakespearean theater for people who might not have the mental acumen to enjoy Shakespearean theater.
See, I disagree with that because as a wrestling fan, I know a lot of wrestling fans, of course.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of very, very intelligent people in wrestling.
Oh no, I'm not saying
mostly the wrestlers,
I'm not saying
and that's the thing is it is simply it is a unique art form in a way that I think a lot of people don't look at. Something worth pointing out is professional wrestling is the only art form that takes place in real time and in canon of real life.
Mm-hmm.
Professional wrestler's character is played by one actor. The character and the actor age at the same rate as the audience, and it can only be portrayed in real time. On top of that, you live in the same canon as professional wrestlers. I have shared a room with The Undertaker, who is played by Mark Calloway. It has only ever been played by Mark Calloway, not counting fake Undertaker. That was a different storyline. Storyline in canon, that's not the same person. Mm-hmm. However, as an aside, I've shared a room with The Undertaker and with CM Punk, who is Phil Brooks and Mark Calloway portraying CM Punk and The Undertaker. That they're in canon with real life. The Undertaker has interacted with real life people and does on a regular basis. It is the only fictional character you can high five is a professional wrestler. That's a fictional performance that you can high five and you're encouraged to high five at ringside. They take place in your canon.
Maybe not.
Which is why it's different than Shakespearean theater, because it's the only thing where you can touch them and it ages in real time. Hamlet can be portrayed by 1,000 people, and Hamlet is always a same or very similar, maybe slightly adapted story. The Undertaker is literally a living, breathing human who is aging with the rest of us.
See, I don't think that's the only thing, because that reminds me very much of the public appearances of YouTubers who put on personalities.
Okay. I can understand that too. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly the same thing because it's obviously a different art form and medium, but I will agree with you that, yes, that is actually an example of a character aging at the same time. You know, the character of the AVGN. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not presented in real time, mind you. However, AVGN ages the same rate and time as us and as James Rolfe.
Yeah, and he has made like public appearances in characters, so it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean to imply that, like, you know, wrestlers and their entire audiences are stupid. No, that's not what I'm saying. No, the chat said that too.
No,
no.
I know for sure that's not what you mean.
There are many intelligent people who watch and enjoy wrestling. Fair enough. What I'm saying is, if there are unintelligent people who wouldn't be able to enjoy Shakespeare, they could watch wrestling and get the same values out of it.
If it's the right kind of wrestling,
yes.
When people say like redneck anime or whatever, what's more accurate is to say that anime is like wrestling, because anime is inspired largely by manga, which is inspired largely by wrestling. That's where sports anime came from, which is why to this day, most anime that you watch that have a fight scene will be littered with pro wrestling moves. Because one, it's part of the culture and history, and two, in Japan, professional wrestlers, by the general non-wrestling public, are not looked at like they are here, where it's like this weird novelty that's dumb and you know it's fake, right? In Japan, they're rock stars and you treat them to meals after the show and you go drinking with them. And so they have a large respect around professional wrestlers, regardless of whether you're a wrestling fan or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's kind of what I was saying, right? Like, the reason that society crafts narratives and passes on narratives is because there's values to be learned that you can apply in real life from those narratives. And that's why Shakespeare is so popular, because there's a lot of why any writer, frankly, is popular, is because there's something to them that transcends the story and talks about every person, you know? And like, whenever you watch, like, at least from my my memory of wrestling, whenever you would see like the good guy and the bad guy have a beef and duke it out, it was never enough that the good guy was more moral than the bad guy, because he would always lose. You get sucker punched or something dumb would happen. And it was never enough that the good guy was stronger than the bad guy, because he'd get sucker punched or like his friends would ambush him or something. He had to be both strong and moral, and then in the pay-per-view, the good guy generally wins. Generally. Yeah.
There's plenty of badly written storylines or ones where the bad guy needs to win in the end, because I could talk forever about booking a long-term wrestling company and how you build up credible faces, credible heels, credible programs, how you get someone over with the crowd, how you get heat. There's the ebb and flow of a wrestling match, and the debate on how much do you script it and how much should it be improv. Used to be mostly improv. Now it's a little bit more popular to script it a little bit more without rehearsing it too much. There's lots of different philosophies, because this is a form of art, and so naturally nobody agrees on these things. There's different flavors of ice creams on sale here. Chikara is a company out of the tri-state area, which is PG, and there's good guys and bad guys it's a superhero show, live action. There's a lot of goofy stuff, there's a lot of comedy stuff, there's a lot of over-the-top, crazy action of very athletic, usually cruiserweights, so light guys who are able to do a lot of flashy stuff. And, there's the Colony, who would come out in their ant masks, and there's like Soldier Ant and Fire Ant. They have their different gimmicks based on it. There's Player Uno and Player Dos, where one of them, Player Uno, had like an NES gamepad as part of his tights, and one day he got kicked in the start button and he paused. And then that's in the same wrestlers also wrestled in CZW down the street, which is hardcore wrestling where you wrestle on thumbtacks and glass and stuff. And yes, you actually wrestle on thumbtacks and glass. That's why you actually bleed and are actually covered in scars after. That's some people's thing. It's a different audience. That's for that hardcore Philly crowd. And they're, Soldier Ant, that goofy, lovable guy from the Colony, goes over to CZW, takes his mask off. He's Drew Gulak, the evil villain of CZW, because he's the pure wrestler who doesn't like this junkyard weapons wrestling, He's against what the company is for. And so he's the bad guy there. And that's the same human.
Yeah.
And in fact, you can have him with no mask in multiple companies playing different characters, and that is simply part of the suspension of disbelief. When you watch an anime, you see Goku and Vegeta clashing beams. You don't see you aren't looking at that and thinking, this is a thing that a bunch of artists have drawn, and a bunch of pixels on my screen to represent that. That's not how you think of it. You think of it as Goku fighting Vegeta, even if you know it's not real. Well, it's the same thing with wrestling. It's a performance. You simultaneously know this is fake, and this is Undertaker battling for the title against CM Punk.
Right, yeah. Well, my point was that if the value being passed on is to be a good person, you can't simply be moral, you also have to be strong. Well, that's passed on at like multiple different levels, right? You can get it from religion, because lots of religions say that. You can get it from literature. But if you are more inclined to enjoy something like wrestling, you can get it from wrestling. And I think that is the cultural value of wrestling, is that it does have messages to pass on to those people who are more inclined to get it through that medium.
Role models. There's a lot of role models in wrestling, a lot of people that you aspire to be, and that's the same thing as comic books or movies or any legitimate art. It does give you role models, and I can definitely say that I would not be the person I am today without wrestling. There are a lot of people and traits and stuff that I looked up to and that I respected, and that still do, obviously, and that I wanted to model myself after are professional wrestlers, both the individuals behind them and some of the characters. You take traits from each and you try to build yourself towards that person that you want to be. Something that I took very seriously from wrestling, and this is a thing you hear from any veteran wrestler, when people who get very, very popular, they always point out, like, they believe it. They speak about what they're passionate about, and they believe it. When you look them in the eyes, you know that they believe what they are saying. And I think that's why people are drawn to me, is when people look into the webcam and they see my eyes and they hear the way that I'm talking and the things that I'm saying and the amount of thought that I've put into it, that yes, I am being honest with you. This is what I think. If you think I'm lying, look me in the eye and tell me that, because you won't believe I'm lying if you look me in the eye. And that's something that I think is incredibly important, is your credibility and your honesty, and being able to portray that.
Oh god, that reminds me. I've only got about 5 minutes because Naomi's home soon.
Oh, sweet. Make sure to do the posture thing with her. I want to make sure her shoulder's okay.
Yep, I definitely will. But
Sweet.
there is something that I think we can talk about really quickly before we go, because that reminded me of something.
Sure.
Sargon did a video recently where he pulled up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talking about what she thought the election in November is really about. And she said it's about stopping fascism in the White House. But she couldn't look in the camera and say it with a straight face. She started laughing. And it's like, you can't even tell your own fucking lie at this point. And then Sargon, he looks at the camera and he says, you know what? No, this, maybe not this election, but the next 10 to 20 years is going to be stopping socialism in the West. And he looks in the camera and there's not a single sense that he's not being serious. And it's like, that's how you can tell the difference between someone someone who believes in something and someone who is saying it for fucking clout, you know? And your example reminded me of that, because it was so stark what happened in that Sargon video. It was incredible.
It's important. I think it's really important that you always have your word and that your word means something. And I think that being able to look someone, especially the audience, in the eye, it does a lot to just let them know, like, hey, I'm looking you in the eye so you can tell whether I'm telling the truth or not, basically. And because I have such conviction that, yes, what I'm saying is what I believe, that I want you to have no ambiguity about whether I mean my words. Not whether about I'm right or not, just whether I mean my words.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is actually a great talk, man.
Thank you. I've been wanting to be back on. I've been wanting to be back on, like, a lot. We talked about it a few times. I've been wanting to do more stuff with you forever because I always have a fun time.
Yeah. I haven't been on your channel yet, so we should arrange a game or something. That, like,
yes,
I know you don't want. I know that, like, I'm a complete lover of Pokemon, and you don't want to do any more Pokemon than you have to. So, but we'll figure something out. Yeah, you know? We'll figure something out.
I'm already, well, if you're getting into CK3, then maybe we'll play some CK3 together or something.
Yeah, we'll find a game, I think. Here, before we take off, guys, I'll read your super chats, okay? In case there's questions for.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, Samurai Squirrel says, "Woke Marvel movies is what Vosh aspires to." All right. Brick Muppet says, "Dump Truck was a fairly big mainstream star in the 80s. Is that a wrestling thing?"
Dump Truck.
Yeah.
Don't recognize the name.
Yeah. Brick Muppet, "Oh my god, this is epic." Maybe he's Brick Muppet's a big fan of mine. Maybe he's a fan of yours too.
Maybe.
Underscore, it's just an underscore. He says, "Wow, I wasn't expecting this crossover." Nice. That's
a lot of people don't know that we're friends.
Yeah.
It's funny because I talk about you on my show.
I talk about you on my show.
Yeah, it comes up, you know. Sometimes it comes up.
Yeah. There's that confused one. "Sorry, Dev, but I gotta be on the side of my dry bread because you're not good at Sword and Shield." I hate Sword and Shield.
I've only played a couple gyms in. I've been so busy.
I hate it. It's such an unpolished, unfinished game, in my opinion.
I liked the first little while that I played of it generally, but I don't think I've given it enough of a fair shake yet.
The worst part is they're like, "We can't fit all the Pokemon into the main game. By the way, here's the DLC with the Pokemon we took out." It's like, fuck you, Nintendo. Come on. The only thing good about it is
frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, the only thing good about the game, in my opinion, is that there's like really cute designs for the girls. And
I
guarantee
they add Drowsy into the game yet?
They're all 18 in the hentai that I look at, so don't worry about that, guys. Okay.
As long as that's the canon.
Let's keep going here. Texas P12. "Crumble Bread would hate dry bread because he made profit even though he's lazy."
I'm gonna assume that joke would have made a lot more sense if we read it when it happened, because we'd have the whole context.
Yeah, it might have been like a bread tuber thing, and your name's also Madry bread.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably something related to that.
Well, I've taken to calling like small bread tubers crumb tubers because it's kind of funny. Like, maybe it's a little bit insulting. Maybe it's more insulting that I should indulge in it, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious when I thought of it.
I don't know. Tubers. I think it's fairly... it's a lighthearted joke.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one thing that I wanted to bring up earlier, if you don't mind. It's that when I look at most rank and file socialists, like like Carrie, the woman that I talked to on her stream before she kicked me off of it. I legitimately think that they're not bad people.
I agree.
I think
I think they're just misguided.
maybe misguided, but I think what it is that they're suffering. They're suffering
Maybe.
quite a bit because of the economic situation, like the real economic situation they find themselves in, and
Mhm.
they have no hope that the current system is going to work for them. And so you get people who are frankly grifters. There are like intellectuals. There are YouTubers like Vosh. It can come from multiple sources, but you get people who are basically grifters, who are weaponizing these people's own despair against them, just
Mhm.
for like their own money, their own clout, their own careers. You know, and like I think the rank and file socialist, if they got a legitimate break and they actually learned that their own efforts could make their lives a little bit better if they were to try it, they would likely not nearly be as extreme as they are. And
I agree.
the problem with like the pandemic and the everything being shut down is that you're going to have a lot more people who are in a lot more despair, and they're going to become a lot more radicalized. Like I've had a
Mhm.
script on the back burner for like 6 months, and it basically says the script's title is "Communism Requires Weakness." And the idea is that the people, for them to be open to the idea of some kind of a socialist revolution, the people have to be sufficiently weakened and put in such a terrible state that they would want to revolt. And I'm like, man, if you need to like brutalize millions of people's lives to get them to basically get your political ideology going, it's not fucking worth it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm willing. I'm open to hear that argument and everything. Which it sounds like you're making a video on that, so I will be hearing that argument
Yeah,
soon. So
it'll come
I'm
out
excited
someday.
for that.
It'll come out someday. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
So
like I will say when I was when I would say that I was pretty socialist, although I wasn't very politically active. Um, when I had that idea, I was I had been at rock bottom for quite a while, and although I started to clean up my act and stop being one, well, I was literally like the most rock bottom I've been, like literally living in a 1-room apartment with my mom.
mhm.
Just the two of us, 1 room, like 2 beds up against each other, which is up against the fridge. Like that's it.
Yeah.
When I was there, that's when I started to move away from that because I was open to more political ideas. But I always had this idea that because I'm disabled and everything, on top of being in a bad family and being, well, not a bad family overall. I mean, I have a very small family, and my father is very mentally unwell and didn't take care of us. But I'm disabled. My mom's disabled. None of us were in a good way and everything. We had no money. I was dirt poor. I couldn't work. I couldn't find a job. Disabilities make it very difficult. I felt like it wasn't that my hard work couldn't get me anywhere. It's that I can't reasonably even get started because I am at such rock bottom that how could I be capable? And it was through the realization that no, holy shit, I actually managed to get out of that apartment through my own hard work as well as Fatima's hard work. Even though I was in the worst of worst places, I didn't stop doing a video a day minimum that whole year, living in 1 room with my mom. And I kind of just started to realize, oh, I'm more capable than I thought I was. Maybe I don't need the help. Maybe I really can do this. And I did it.
Yeah, I think it's that realization. I am more capable than I thought I was, and
Yes.
that's why I think like the people, at least on the left, the radical left, they're like, it's like, no, you're a victim. No, the government needs to help you. You're oppressed. You're that kind of mentality, right? Like,
Hmm.
and the minute that you say maybe my own efforts can actually affect a positive change in my life, that's basically like the first nail in the coffin of socialists thinking that socialism works, because it was the exact same way with me. I was also um, in quite a bad strait. It was different than yours, but still a bad strait.
Hmm.
And it was and I was thinking that way. And basically, I hit rock bottom. I came back out of it, and I stopped being a socialist for the exact same reasons. It
Yeah.
was like, no, I actually like the people who are socialists. They're saying, I'm suffering. This is unbearable, and I don't think anything I can do can help my situation. So I need somebody to help me. And then someone comes along and says, oh yeah, well, you know what? Look at all of these rich people who stole everything from you. Look at all these people.
Yeah.
They don't deserve what they have. They took it from you. You're suffering because they have more. And so they become radicalized, right? But then the minute that you realize, no, actually, I can get something for myself. I don't need to be rich. I just need to be rich enough that there's a solid foundation that my own effort can build upon. And to be fair, during a lockdown and a pandemic, there is no solid foundation. You know, the bootstraps idea doesn't work if you can't find a job. Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
But like, in general, if the solid foundation is there that you can build upon, most people will choose to build rather than burn everything down, I think.
I agree. I think people, I think when you don't rile people up, they trend towards like things that are within the societal norms. You know, it's like you were saying before, how like you had to be in an unbearable position and think you need help, and then someone comes along and is like, "Here's who you're supposed to be angry at about all of this." It's that person coming in and riling them up that I think makes them so militant. Otherwise, they'd probably drift away from that.
Yeah. People are saying we should start a crossover channel called Shortbread.
It would be a good name, wouldn't it?
That's kind of funny, actually.
It just mild-mannered Canadians.
Let's look at the rest of the supers, though. I got confused one again. You're at the whims and mercy of the policy regulations, and if the pool of insured isn't facing mass critical calamity, that could push the insurance company into bankruptcy. New York City alone is seeing budget fallout. Yeah, insurance doesn't solve everything. It solves almost nothing, frankly. Hey, Naomi. Naomi, say hi. Come close to the microphone and say hi.
Oh, tell her about the posture thing.
I'll tell her about the posture after we're over. Yeah.
Okay. Again, if you want anything, I can help you with all that. Like, I've been fixing my posture hardcore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see here. Confused again. Timothy Kaufman 2018 was the incident. Okay, I'll look into that one too, just in case that's also what it is.
It's so strange that everybody, I say everybody, it's like 5 people. People kept saying, like, I used to be a woman, or are you trans, or low testosterone? No, none of those things. This is so weird.
I have giant balls that produce much testosterone.
Honestly, I think the people that always have to ask, is everybody trans, probably spend a little too much time on political YouTube. Like, guys, it's like 0.something% of the human population. Like, no, chances are I'm not.
Yeah. Okay, let's see going here. Samurai Squirrel. The left these days tend to deny genes, but the ones that don't think you should get an annual payment for being born outside the norm because fairness. Thoughts? Is that really
run that by me again?
Yeah. I don't know if that's actually a widespread idea, but maybe. The left these days tend to deny genes. I assume that's like a trans thing.
Like genetics?
Yeah, genetics, yeah. Okay. But the ones that don't think you should get an annual payment for being born outside the norm because fairness.
Well, like getting annual payments for being trans or something.
Or for like maybe having some kind of genetic disorder, being intersex maybe. I mean, the thing about annual payments is, like, if you're disabled to the point that you legitimately can't work, and you're making like a good faith effort at trying to contribute to society, then there should probably be some kind of safety net there to help you out. You know, if you're just sitting there doing nothing, being like, "Give me," it's like you should probably fuck off. I don't care about you. But like, if you're in a wheelchair and you're like rolling into an office job and contributing somehow, but like you still can't completely make ends meet, there should probably be like a safety net there. I think, you know.
Yeah, I generally agree with the idea that society needs a safety net. You know, there definitely are people who slip through cracks, and yes, you can slip through cracks of safety nets too, for sure. But
yeah,
it doesn't mean you shouldn't have one.
People are saying it's because I've had more trans guests on this channel than cis ones, which is true, actually. Yeah, that's true.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I have watched a lot of, I think every episode of Dumping with Scrump, and yeah, I guess you have had quite a few on.
Yeah.
Who was the one who said white?
That was Yiz, who's in the chat.
Oh, that was Yiz?
Yeah, Yiz the eunuch.
I fucking love the accent. I thought the accent brought so much flavor to the conversation. I like a lot of Southern accents. In fact, I've talked for a long time about how I want to move to North Carolina. I really like a lot of Southern American accents. I think they've got so much personality and so much flair to them.
Let's see here. Sending you a few bucks before the boot comes down and can't, like your content, Dev. Well, thank you very much, but take care of yourself, okay? If the boot's coming down, save your money. Jarnegi says, is bread grinding right now?
I am not. I did get a little bit of footage, though. I'm not going to lie.
And AJ Bualda says, take a few European dollars. And that is all the super chat. So thank you very much, guys. And thanks for being on, Dry Bread. It's a lot of fun.
literally, okay, not literally, figuratively anytime. I want to be on a bunch. I always have a fun time with this stuff.
Yeah, literally, I'll call you at like 3 a.m. You said
I
literally
won't
every
be
time.
awake at 3 a.m. because thankfully I fixed my sleep finally. After all these years
that's
of
good. Yeah,
bitching about my sleep.
Yeah, you said that, like, I think you told me years ago that, like, your sleep schedule was not a 24-hour cycle, so you would, like, rotate around the clock.
It would have to rotate for years and years, which fucked me up severely, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just because of Fatima's work schedule. She would have to rotate too. And I've always had issues with sleep. If I'm on like a very strict schedule, it gets good. Like in high school where I was waking up like 5:30 in the morning every single day because I was the first pickup on the bus and the last drop off. I had to go an entire city and a half away from my school. I got a car ride to the bus stop to then be the first pickup and go to a school on the other side of the city. It's crazy. But I forget what I was saying.
Well,
my sleep is usually really horrific, and I've got it under control now, and I am way better for it.
There's one guy in my community who has a slightly longer than 24-hour sleep schedule, and he basically he will so he'll stay awake for like 26 hours. And then naturally fall asleep for 8 hours, and then stay for 26 hours. Or not 26. You know what I mean, though, right? Like it's basically a 26-hour day that's in his biology.
Yes.
So over time, he will rotate around the normal days, if that makes sense. And then I had a person that I knew in university. She would have the opposite. It was a shorter schedule, and she would basically have 8-day weeks because her sleep schedule was shorter, so she would stay awake for less for not as long, but sleep for a shorter amount of time, and that was just her biology. And so she ended up doing like school during the part of the week where she was awake during the day, and then night shift at a job, at like a part-time job, during the part of the week where she was awake during the night. And so there's these situations where people sometimes have just biologically fucked sleep schedules.
Yeah.
I don't know which one yours was, but
mine's normal. It's just that because of the circumstances of my job and how I tend to have a very poor time falling asleep because of my chronic pain. I mean, I live my entire life with chronic pain. It's just how it is. And you know, my posture was very, very, very bad until recently. Like I was quite the gremlin, and so it was very, very hard to fall asleep. And there'd be the anxiety and the anxiety and the stress around going to sleep and knowing I'm going to be laying in bed for hours and hours, and I'd rather be up doing fucking anything else. And that makes you dread sleeping, and it becomes just this awful cycle.
Yeah, I can see. I've always been able to fall asleep instantly.
You motherfucker.
I get in bed. I'm like, I'm tired. I go to bed. I close my eyes. I'm asleep within 5 minutes, and then I'll sleep for 6 hours. I'll get up, be like, okay, I'm done, and like when I wake up, I'm instantly awake. Okay, hold on, Naomi.
I used to have that for a short time, and I loved it. I missed that.
Naomi, how annoying am I in the morning?
Super annoying.
How energetic am I like when I get up?
Like 100%, and it's awful.
Yeah, like I will get out of bed and like sit up and be like, I'm awake now, and then like by the time I've gotten out of bed, like and then like gone to the door and gone out the door, I'm like fully awake, 100% ready to go.
I feel like as I read the chat, I just see how different our communities are. Where like maybe he's trans in the sense that he transitioned into a hipster. It's always jokes about my. For some reason, like I go on channel after channel after channel. I'm always having a fun time. You know, people complain about me. They'll say I sound annoying or something. I get that a lot. That's fine. But he sounds very annoying. Oh my god, that person said it before I even before they could have possibly heard that. That's incredible. That's hilarious. Okay. Anyway, but they're always making fun of my appearance, and it's in the weirdest ways. Like he looks trans, or like they look at the thumbnail and they're like, hipster hair. Dude, what's hipster about having a mohawk? It's just I have a Slovak hairline because I'm Slovak. And so when the hairline got really bad, I googled Slovak hairstyles, found the mohawk, and I'm like, well, my mom had a mohawk in the wedding pictures, looked good on her, and so I went for a mohawk. Dude, what's hipster about mohawk? Mohawk's been around since before hipsters. What the fuck are people talking about?
Well, it's also like how people say that white people can't have dreads because of cultural appropriation, and then I think the Celts had dreads, and it's like, come on, man. Like, there's a difference between, being a hipster and then having a culture that, despite being a majority white culture, has certain hairstyles. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, look, that's just I'm wearing the hair of my people.
You're like Eastern European, and that's how how it was. So,
more
yeah.
accurately, I have the hairline of my people. It's quite Hey, I don't have a bald spot yet, or else I would just shave the whole thing bald. Because like at that point, when you got a bald spot and a bad hairline, point of no return, man. I'm happy that I have an okay shaped head, I think. So if I if I shave my head and it ends up being a weird shape, then I just gotta live with that.
Okay, the thing with Fukunt 3000, the guy that you pointed out, is that he is like the dedicated troll of my community. He will say every negative thing possible, and it's kind of hilarious. And whenever I talk about Game Boomers, he's like, "No one watch Game Boomers. No one go to Twitch. Nobody do it."
Yeah,
I don't mind. It's fucking funny. I kind of like him and how ridiculous he is. It's great. There was one last thing I wanted to talk about, but I think I can't remember it. So I'm just going up in the chat because there was something in the chat.
Sorry, Fatima was just texting me.
Oh, is your friend there?
Oh, it's her friend. She was just letting me know that her friend just left. He was just coming over because he had a break from work and he wanted to meet the kitten.
I thought you wanted to hang out with them. That sucks.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to say hi if we had a good opportunity, but we didn't. It doesn't matter at all.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case, Naomi's home, so I'm gonna have to go anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, this was great, and we should do it again. And I'm sure that at some point we'll figure out something that I can do on your channel too.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. We will.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody.
Goodbye.